CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, August the 12th. It's going to be a mainly cloudy start to the day. We even now have a small chance of showers, which shouldn't last long. Clearing up as the day goes on. Full forecast to come. Right now, though, the news begins, and we say good morning to Lisa Best.
Good morning. We can always use a little bit of rain and more. A BC Wildfire Update has 104 wildfires burning in our province, 46 of those considered out of control, the same number as yesterday. But there's been 10 new starts in the last day. The single fire still burning on Vancouver Island is still considered being held. That is Up Island. It was discovered on July 23rd. Many of the blazes across the province have been smoked out for a number of days, and while that has led to poor air quality, it has helped in the fight against the blaze. Cliff Chapman with the BC Wildfire Service says that thick layer of smoke that has settled over Penticton appears to have drifted south from the Summerland region, where the Bald Range fire is burning on the western shore of Okanagan Lake.
That smoke, albeit very difficult for us to live with, is also helping suppress the wildfires. It is helping to ensure that the wildfires do not receive clean oxygen. And because every time we see the air clear, like we saw in Summerland on Friday night, we see significant and extreme to explosive fire behavior.
Summerland residents asking for some clarity. Carrie Gold is one of them. She says she and 20,000 other evacuees of that wildfire are frustrated by the lack of information from official channels about the extent of the destruction and the fate of their community. She says it's unsurprising that people have turned to social media and other sources for a desperate search of information.
I'm shocked at how little leadership there is, how little guidance, how little information. You're left to your own devices. That's shocking to me.
The province had said that property damage from the Bald Range fire in the Summerland region is significant. The BC Wildfire Service says the fire is still burning out of control. It has grown again from 156 square kilometers in size to 178 today. That's in a 2-day period since it erupted Friday west of Summerland. Firesmoke.ca forecasts the wildfire smoke from that fire and others will infiltrate the Greater Victoria area around noon today, and then it's expected to worsen between 9 and 5 tomorrow. So if you have any breathing issues, you might want to keep a watch on that. BC Agriculture Minister Lana Popham says an estimated 50,000 farm animals are also facing the effects of fires on 146 agricultural properties under evacuation. 123 are subject to evacuation alerts at this point. Popham says that the animals may not be in imminent danger, but they're still threatened. She says the risk is being managed under programs, including the province's Range Rider program, which brings livestock to safety during emergencies.
If a ranch is under threat of fire, these folks head out on horseback or on ATVs, and they find the cattle and they move them into either safe areas where there's feed and hopefully water.
Popham said the program recently helped the Coldwater Indian Band, where some 1,500 heads of cattle were moved within 24 hours after that community was placed under evacuation order. One of the 2 fires burning in Olympic National Park in Washington State have been extinguished. The fire had burned less than 1 acre on the southern slope of Sourdough Mountain across the strait, almost directly south of Souk. There's been increased activity on the Mount Tom Creek fire, which is another 5 or so kilometers to the south. Nanaimo RCMP continue to crack down on public safety issues around the Diana Krall Plaza in the downtown core. They conducted a 2-day blitz with surveillance and enforcement operations in and around the plaza. As a result, officers executed 4 arrest warrants, made 10 arrests in total, seizing about 35 grams of illicit drugs, almost $1,000 in cash, and an assortment of weapons. Nanaimo RCMP said these types of focused enforcement initiatives may continue through the future to keep things under control. Well, last weekend was the biggest year of the cruise ship for cruise ship passengers touring Greater Victoria. But this coming weekend, no slouch. Nearly 29,000 cruise passengers will disembark in Victoria between Friday and Sunday. On Friday, the Norwegian Bliss, Eurodam, and Royal Princess will bring more than 9,900 people to the city. More than 10,000 arrive Saturday on Star Princess, Eurodam, and Norwegian Encore. And on Sunday, the Crystal Symphony, Anthem of the Seas, and MSC Poesia will cruise into dock at Ogden Point, carrying more than 8,800 people. The actual total, 28,984 people, is what will swell by this weekend. And if you're looking for love, Netflix confirms Love is Blind is coming to Canada.
The hit reality series puts single men and women in isolated pods where they date and apparently fall in love without ever seeing each other. The catch is they must get engaged before meeting face to face. The original U.S. version of Love is Blind premiered in 2020 and became a pandemic-era breakout, eventually spawning adaptations around the world. Casting is now open for the Canadian version of the show, which is being produced by Insight Productions, the company behind Big Brother Canada and Canada Shore. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
And that's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question we're asking, do you support the petition sparked in Calgary to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada? 80% say, yeah, pretty good idea. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 6:06.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday, where we do have a small chance of showers with us this morning.
Rare.
I know. I was looking around at the weather radar, and it doesn't look like much has been materializing for the Victoria area specifically, although kind of around us.
There is cloud cover. Makes the dawn look pretty.
Yeah, we got some nice clouds over Victoria. We have some scattered showers sort of surrounding us up kind of if you're in the Lake Cowichan area, Duncan area. A little further up island in patches. There have been a few little showers here and there. Nothing for Victoria yet, but it is in the forecast for a bit, and then it clears up as the day goes on. We'll get you a full sense of the weather in just a moment. I was just interested in the possibility of rain. I thought that was cool.
Smattering.
But let's see what's going on in sports. Hey, it's a BC Lions kind of CFL night right here on CFAX 1070. We'll be bringing you the radio broadcast of the game as the Calgary Stampeders host the Lions at a pivotal Week 11. A West Division CFL matchup going on tonight with the 4-5 Stampeders tied for third with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, each 2 points ahead of the 3-5 BC Lions. The Stamps are coming off a 33-30 loss to the host Toronto Argonauts, while the Lions, of course, beat the visiting Hamilton Tiger Cats 27-24 in their last action. For baseball, Toronto Blue Jays, winners of 4 of their last 5, are now only 2.5 games back of an American League wildcard berth. And the Jays have won the first 2 of a 4-game series against the visiting Boston Red Sox. Right-hander Jose Soriano will be on the mound for the Jays tonight. The Red Sox have now lost 4 games in a row. Oh, and Seattle Mariners lost 4-1 to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium last night, dropping their 5th consecutive game. Vancouver Whitecaps wrapped up their League's Cup competition last night with a 3rd straight loss to a Mexican opponent. The MLS Cup finalists from a season ago lost 5-4 on penalties to the host Tigres UANL in Monterrey, Mexico. Vancouver, though, was already out of the Cup because of previous games. That was just sort of wrapping up the schedule. They're down to the Final 4 at the National Bank Open in Toronto, and by the end of the day, there will be 2 left standing in the women's singles draw. In today's semifinals, 7th-seeded Iga Swiatek of Poland plays 9th-seeded Alina Svitolina of Ukraine, while in the second match, 4th-seeded American Coco Gauff plays 2nd-seeded Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan. Tennis names coming from all over the world. The winners play in tomorrow's final, and we got 3 Americans and 1 Italian in the lineup for tonight's men's semifinal at the National Bank Open going on in Montreal. That is your sports. It's 6:09. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. The time is 6:11. What's going on the roads? Well, it's pretty clear right now. Watch out for the continued road work, of course, at Langford Parkway at Langford Lake Road. The Fortis gas main work is going on. But listeners yesterday were letting us know things seemed like the detour that kind of ducks around it by the school is working pretty well. No other major issues right now, but if you see something, do text me at 71010. For the BC Ferries, 7 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swaset, about half full of vehicle deck space, so lots of space left there. And in the weather forecast, we've been kind of already talking about it. Chance of showers this morning. We have been seeing some scattered showers around us. I got a little weather radar here. In the last hour or so, there have been some showers in the Juan de Fuca Strait out on the water, just not over Victoria itself. Parts of the island, like around Lake Cowichan, some parts around Duncan and North Cowichan, have been seeing a little bit of rain a little further up. If you get closer to the Alberni Inlet, some rain going on there as well. So parts of the island seeing a bit of rain this morning. Not Victoria so far, but we do have a small chance of it. After that, we start to clear up today. We'll see highs of about 24 degrees, a humidex of 27, so actually feeling a bit warmer today with some extra humidity in the air. A few clouds overnight, lows to 12. Then for the rest of the week, it's just sort of sunshine with the odd bit of cloud and temperatures in the mid-20s. So this little blip of clouds we got right now and a chance of showers is the only real kind of variation. Otherwise, we get into just more sunshine and warm temperatures for the rest of the week. North American stock markets opening up a little later this hour, so let's take a look at how things closed off yesterday with Aaron Sousa.
Gains in utilities and industrials yesterday lifted Toronto's S&P TSX by 17 points to 36,475. Meanwhile, U.S. markets slipped with the Dow down 184 points and the Nasdaq down 159. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei climbed 0.8%, but the Hang Seng in Hong Kong retreated. Our dollar is trading near 71.79 cents U.S. Trade talks continue in Washington over the renewal of CUSMA. It comes as a new report warns a breakdown of the deal could cost Canada and the U.S. thousands of jobs. Canada's military is testing drones today at a NATO facility in the Ottawa Valley. The armed forces are looking to fast-track the adoption of more drones for modern warfare. And grocery chain Metro is set to release third-quarter results today. It likely marks CEO Eric Lafleche's final report after 18 years, as he's set to retire next month. He leaves as Metro faces headwinds from a workers' strike and as consumers seek bargains. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us and making CFAX a part of your morning. I'm Ryan. Lisa's here. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah?
I was looking for the Perseids earlier.
Oh, yes.
I fail.
Yeah.
Every year. I come around every year.
It's a little cloudy tonight,
Well,
or
there's that.
last night, or
Yeah.
this morning,
This
or
morning,
whatever.
which
we're
didn't
talking about.
help. We had really nice weather, and then the cloud came in just for that. So we also had 6 planets align.
Oh, did we?
We did. Did you feel the pull?
That's astrology people are probably very into that.
Well, the thing is,
What
I
does it
thought it was
mean?
going to be super rare. Well, so the astrology, the zodiac, what is your biodex? Your biodex
All that
determines
stuff.
whether you should go outside today or not.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really rare, and I was doing some research. Apparently, it's not as rare as you would think.
Having the planets line
Yeah.
up? Okay.
Now, all of them line up. That would be rare. But these 6 apparently get together quite often.
Yeah.
So,
Lots going on.
party in the planets.
Lots in the space realm right now.
Right.
Actually, we should talk more about the Perseids, because even though it's a little cloudy right now and overnight it wasn't the best, the peak of this thing is coming up tonight. I've got a few tips about that we can share in just a few moments.
Okay.
But right now it's 6:15. And it's time for the headlines with Lisa.
Okay, this year's end-to-end cycling relay raised over $300,000 for the Islands Kid Cancer Association. That two-day non-stop 1,000-kilometer ride from stem to stern on the island in mid-June featured a team of 9 riders. They rode in groups of 2 or 3. There's always someone riding, though, and they battled some windy, dark conditions, rain. They rode from Victoria to Port Hardy and back nonstop. Pretty epic. Fundraising events included everything from hockey games to concerts and cookie sales. The riders, sponsored supporters, built on the success of the inaugural relay last year, which raised about $110,000, so a big jump in fundraising. The challenge would be doing it again in 2027. The endtoendcancer.com site in September will have more news about the application process. Federal Health Minister Marjorie Michel has announced $24 million to create the Canadian Cannabis and Brain Health Consortium. Funding for the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, the group of 10 researchers from across Canada, are going to work together to study how cannabis affects your brain. And a variety of ages of people, the consortium announced today, aims to establish scientific evidence about both potential benefits and the harms of cannabis, including its effects on epilepsy, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, your sleep, your mental health, and brain development in teens, and also women when they're pregnant. And a man who once was Canada's top soldier has been tapped as the next strategic defense advisor for the National Bank of Canada. Former chief of the defense staff, Rick Hillier, has spent 35 years with the Canadian Armed Forces and will assist the bank with its defense and security clients. National Bank CEO Laurent Ferrier says Hillier is one of Canada's most respected military leaders and a strategic thinker. They're glad to have him on board. That is your news to 6:17.
Thanks, Lisa. See a problem in traffic? Text us at 71010. We'll give you an update in just a moment on what we know. We'll also talk about the Perseid meteor shower, a few things about that to go over in just a few moments because we're about to hit the peak of it. That's next. It's 6:19 on a Wednesday morning. Let's take a look at CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. First off, volume delays are very light from the West Shore at this early morning hour. No major issues to speak of on any of our major routes, so smooth sailing if you are commuting early. For BC Ferries, 7 o'clock sailing is coming up with about half the vehicle deck space spoken for. No sailing waits there. And for the weather forecast, we're starting cloudy. We got the small chance of scattered showers for Greater Victoria this morning. We have seen a few showers around the Victoria area, but not over the Victoria area. Sort of out in the Wandafuka Strait, there's been a bit of rain up in the Cowichan Valley. A little bit of rain's been falling, not for the capital region itself, but we still have a small chance that maybe we'll see something as the morning goes on. Then it clears up by the time we get to the afternoon. Highs of 24, a humidex of 27, so feeling a little warmer with some extra humidity in the air today. A few clouds overnight, lows to 12. Tomorrow, mainly sunny. Could see a little bit of haze back into the forecast. Highs of 24 tomorrow, a humidex of 28, so feeling quite warm again. Friday, sunshine. Saturday, Sunday, looking mostly sunny with a few clouds and temperatures sort of in that mid-20 range. Right now for the temperatures, well, at Oak Bay, 15 degrees right now. In Langford, it is 17 degrees.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, I've had a chance to catch the Perseid meteor shower. I haven't. Lisa, you mentioned you couldn't really. I mean, it's cloudy right now, but this meteor shower will be peaking tonight from about midnight tonight to dawn, which for me, I'll probably have to try to catch it around the dawn period of time because I'll be in bed at midnight.
Right, me
Morning
too.
radio and all that.
Unless we get up really early to try to see it.
Yeah.
But you have to be somewhere dark for it.
Yeah.
You can't be around the city lights. A lot of people were reaching out on Facebook saying, give me some ideas of where to go. People were asking, is this Esquimalt Lagoon a good place? And some were saying no. So, yeah, if you know a good place that you've had some luck viewing the heavens, we're hearing. We're listening.
Somebody was suggesting Cattle Point as a good spot.
Oh, that would be good, yeah.
Even though you're pretty close in, it is fairly dark. There's not a lot of street lights or anything right in that spot. So Cattle Point, Oak Bay, it could be a place to go check it out because you got to get away from the lights to really be able to see it. These sort of streaking meteors coming across the sky. Right. Again, midnight till 5 a.m. is sort of the peak of this thing.
They say the hour before dawn is when it would be best.
Like the biggest, yeah. And I guess you look kind of northeast. That's sort of the direction where you see it the most. So there's another tip.
Turn your lights off on your car, otherwise you defeat the purpose.
But I love that. Do you have any suggestions for a place to see this where it would be a little bit darker, but you don't have to get too far out of the city or wherever you happen to be? Give us a text at 71010. Best place to see the Perseids. And what is the Perseids anyways? What is this? So this happens annually. It's kind of cool that, this time of year, we always talk about this. But if you need a refresher, because I kind of did, I was like, what is this again? This is every year the Earth on its journey around the sun at this time of year passes through a trail of dust and ice left by a comet called Swift-Tuttle. So it's
named after the two researchers that discovered it.
Yeah. So we're seeing the little bits of space dust and ice get into our atmosphere and burn up.
And it wasn't Taylor Swift.
Not Taylor Swift-Tuttle.
She's done a lot of things. She did not discover the comet.
And we've been doing this, by the way, for about, at least there's recorded sightings of the Perseids going back about 2,000 years.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I guess scholars in China were recording this event.
Wow.
All the way back around about 2,000 years ago. So us humans have been looking up at the stars and watching these meteors for a very long time.
You think God would get the Roomba out every once in a while? clean up in all nine.
Clear up all that space dust.
Speaking of which, we've got smoke coming in.
Okay, tell me about the smoke. I was seeing in our forecast that we got a little bit of haze on the horizon, so hopefully it holds off until after we see the Perseids. But
maybe.
Yeah.
But if you've got any kind of breathing conditions or if you just don't like it, because a lot of us just don't like the feeling of it, tomorrow between 9 and 5, I'm looking at the firesmoke.ca website, it thickens. We've got some coming in today around noon. But then tomorrow between 9 and 5, it's probably going to be thicker than what we're used to, what we've had so far.
Okay.
And that might change depending on prevailing winds. And usually Firesmoke.ca has been pretty bang on with it. So I'm hoping they're wrong. But this will be if it happens, if it comes to fruition, this will be our first real hit with noticeable smoke in the air.
We did have a little bit of it back, when the snowbirds were in town, kind of around that period of time. I remember
this would be thicker than that.
Yeah, so that was there, but it wasn't that bad. Like we never really got into any kind of concerning air quality. It was just,
I remember created some ambience, don't you think?
I remember watching the snowbirds, and it would be kind of weird because there would be no mountains. We were looking out of the strait. And you'd seen the snowbirds perform, but you couldn't see the Olympics because the smoke haze was blocking it. But yeah, it didn't smell that bad or didn't feel that bad in the air. But you're saying it could get a bit worse than that tomorrow.
According to the forecast, yes.
All right. Watch out for that in the horizon. And another thing to watch out for is the Mega Summer 50-50. We should update that because we are now at $17,345. That is the jackpot. Were it to be held today, the winner would take half of that And CFAX Santa's Anonymous and the Kids Count program, helping kids beyond Christmas around Greater Victoria, would take the other half for a bunch of wonderful things that they do. And $17,345.
That's a good chunk of cash.
I wonder how far we'll take it by the end of the show today, because every day I look at this early and I'm blown away by where it gets to. You can buy a ticket for $10 at, you go to CFAX1070.com, click on the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50 button. That takes you to a place where you can buy a ticket online. You can buy a 5-pack for $25, a 20-pack for $50. And if you're the lucky person who gets their ticket drawn on Friday, August 28th at 7 a.m., you'll be walking away with half the money.
That's good.
And the other half going to CFAX Santa's Anonymous, as we mentioned, in the Kids Count program. And there's a whole bunch of different places this goes. I'm actually going to go and hang out with some of the folks who are recipients of this. We're talking about the Victoria Therapeutic Riding Association.
Yes.
They're really cool.
Is it North Saanich?
I think it's technically Central Saanich.
Okay.
One of the Saaniches.
Right.
They've got.
It's on the peninsula.
It's like therapy for people and
for children.
For children,
Yeah.
well, I think other people can do it as well.
Right.
But we support children who could use it as therapy for mental well-being. Access to these horses, and I've heard about this. I don't have much experience with this, but there is a real kind of connection between humans and horses, and there can be a real therapeutic quality to being with them. And
Absolutely. Well, you feel that with any animal,
Yeah.
especially if you have anyone with a pet can attest to that. But yeah, riding horses is it can be fun, but it's also the movement, the just dealing with a larger animal that usually is. I mean, these ones would be quite calm, of course. And yeah, there is a connection. They have seniors, they have children, but for children, especially children who cannot communicate, they have found it has been very, very beneficial.
Yeah.
In lifting their mood and helping them with moving forward in life.
So I'm going to go out there. I'm going to find out more about how this all works.
Yes,
And-
you're going solo.
Well, I'm going to go sit on a horse, I think. Maybe. We'll see if this happens, but I might go be on a horse and check out this program. You're
Right.
not coming with me, though.
No.
Why aren't you coming with
I
me?
am really quite allergic to horses.
Oh, really?
And I am very, very envious of you doing this because I would love to come with you. The best I could do is stand off to the paddock and go, hey, good job, Ryan. Use the reins. I can't actually even be downwind from a horse so
Really?
much.
It's that bad?
It's pretty bad. So I have to be really careful. Otherwise, I get to visit the nice people in the ER, and I don't want to do that.
It gets that bad.
Yeah,
eh?
it's
It's
that
like
bad, yeah.
hospital visit level of
It's
bad.
kind of like people with peanuts. I'm a little bit like that with a horse.
Wow.
So it's, I can say hi, nice horse when the carriages go by, but I can't spend a lot of time around them. Everybody's got something, right? So I am very envious because I adore horses and I would love to be on horseback with you, but you'll be riding this one solo, cowboy.
Maybe I'll give you a call from the horse.
Tell me what the horse is thinking.
I'll tell you all about it.
Tell me all about your horse.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'll report back tomorrow. Let's talk a bit more about it because I'm
Cool.
curious to find out about all the things that we support because of your donations
What
to
is your-
and Anonymous and
Right.
because of things like buying a raffle ticket for the Mega Summer 50/50.
We should have them on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk to the horse
Get the horse on the
and
show.
I'll ask him.
And then get the humans because they
him.
might have more to say.
Okay, I got to take a break right now. We got the 6:30 news coming up. Lisa's got your top stories of the day. We'll talk about that weather. Will we see any showers over Victoria this morning? We'll tell you all about it next.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
in support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50/50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:31 on this Wednesday, August the 12th. Clouds to start. We do have a small chance of scattered showers over Greater Victoria for the morning hours. We'll tell you all about it in just a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Good morning. The Canadian Armed Forces is holding an event today with Canadian drone manufacturers to test their platforms in real-world scenarios.
The event, called the Red Cobalt Uncrewed Systems Accelerator, is being held at a NATO test center in the Ottawa Valley, set up for testing cutting-edge technologies. The federal government is looking to quickly adopt more drones as the technology is ever developing. Lieutenant General Darcy Molstad, commander of the Canadian Joint Forces Command, says this is an example of how the military must do business with industry to innovate swiftly.
We have to work with them hand in hand because this is technology that evolves on a weekly basis in a modern operational theater.
He says this kind of event puts military drone operators in direct contact with industry experts who are developing the platforms. Karen Ribot, The Canadian Press.
The new commander of the Royal Canadian Navy on the East Coast says training and taking care of his people is among his top priorities. Rear Admiral Pascal Belhumer has been installed as commander of Maritime Forces Atlantic and Joint Task Force Atlantic aboard HMCS William Hall in Halifax. Belhumer says that recruitment has historically been a challenge.
So one of the challenges that we've had is the amount of men and women that we have in the Navy. So that is an acknowledged challenge. But we've had a few good recruiting years where we've actually surpassed the intake for the RCN. And our challenge now is making sure that we can train those folks in order to get them to what we call trained effective strength so that they can be mariners on board ships.
Along with the Navy, he's also in charge of defending the Atlantic provinces from threats, as well as search and rescue and natural disaster response. It's the topic of the CFAX poll question today. At this point, nearly 30,000 Canadians have signed a petition calling for the U.S. President's representative in Ottawa to be kicked out of this country.
The online petition is set to be presented in the House of Commons in the fall. It says Pete Huckstra should be declared persona non grata, and the Canadian government should request his removal as U.S. ambassador to Canada. It accuses Huckstra of undermining the Canada-U.S. diplomatic relationship and of intervening in Canadian political discourse in a manner that's inconsistent with diplomatic protocol. It also calls on the federal government to direct a parliamentary committee to review U.S. diplomatic interference in Canadian affairs. A spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy declined to comment. The petition was started by a Calgary woman and will be presented by Green Party leader Elizabeth May in Parliament. Sarah Ritchie, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
Back here in Greater Victoria, the City of Victoria announcing that the Crystal Pool and Fitness Centre will close permanently on September 25th. Then the process will begin towards building a new health and wellness facility. Until that is built, rec programs and services will transition to the newly named Victoria Recreation Centre on Broughton Street. Repairs and upgrades are underway on that site with a planned opening in early next year. Starting September 11th, you can check out historical photos from the 55 years of operation that will be set up in the Crystal Pool lobby. You can also sign the memory wall and get a commemorative Crystal Pool sticker with the price of admission. On the fire front, frustrated wildfire evacuees from Summerland say they are seeking out alternative sources of information about the fate of their community. That's to fill the void from official channels because they're not getting information they're looking for. This comes as authorities warn against risk of misinformation, including the mayor of Summerland. In a briefing yesterday, Cliff Chapman with the BC Wildfire Service says his staff is aware of residents' concerns, noting the situation continues to be extremely challenging.
We are working around the clock on the Bald Range fire to try to establish control lines, to try to establish tactics that can allow the safe return home. That is what we do on all of our fires. But even last night, without much wind, we were seeing very challenging conditions and quite significant growth in some areas of that wildfire.
The province says the property damage from the Bald Range fire in that community is significant. The blaze destroyed numerous homes and almost completely destroyed the tiny community of Falder with a population of 215 as it moves west into Summerland over the weekend. But official damage assessments for that community can't be taken yet. The BC Wildfire Service says there's 104 fires burning in the province. 46 of those are considered out of control. There's no new fires on Vancouver Island, but Firesmoke.ca forecasts that the wildfire smoke from fires burning in the U.S. and on the BC mainland will move into Greater Victoria around noon today, and that smoke condition is expected to worsen tomorrow between 9 and 5. And that is your news to 6:36. Our CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you support a petition to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada? 80% say yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 6:37.
Throw him out of the country.
Well, he's got to, you can't leave a void. You know, nature and politics abhor a void. So who's next?
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyways, let us know.
Interesting.
CFAX1070.com. Interesting results so far. We are looking at a day that's a little cloudy to start. We might even see some scattered showers for Victoria for the morning hours. Let's talk about that in just a moment. But I will just mention it's clearing up as the day goes on. So we're going to get out of any chance of showers pretty quick here. We'll give you the full forecast right after we do our CFAX 1070 Sports, where we have BC Lions on the radio tonight because the Calgary Stampeders are hosting the Lions in a pivotal Week 11 West Division CFL matchup. The 4 and 5 Stampeders tied for third with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, each 2 points ahead of the 3 and 5 Lions. In baseball, Toronto Blue Jays, winners of 4 of their last 5, are only 2.5 games back of an American League wildcard berth, and the Jays have won the first 2 of a 4-game series against the visiting Boston Red Sox. Right-hander Jose Soriano will be on the mound for the Jays. The Red Sox have lost 4 games in a row now. Mariners also on the losing end, 4-1 to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium last night. That's the Mariners dropping their 5th consecutive game. Vancouver Whitecaps with a loss. They finished up their League's Cup competition last night. They'd already been eliminated. They already had been eliminated before they even started the game last night, but they did lose it in penalties. The final score 5-4 on penalties against the host Tigres UANL in Monterrey, Mexico. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports. It's 6:39. And by the way, morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home nomad of the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Airstage dealer. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather at 6:40. And on the roads, it's very clear. So let's just get more into that weather forecast that we've been talking about. So a bit more detail. Mainly cloudy to start the day. We have a 30% chance of showers early this morning, but we're starting to already clear out of that. I was watching the weather radar a little bit. We've seen some showers off the Juan de Fuca Strait, so over the water, just not over the Victoria area. Still a small chance we might see some, but it looks like we're getting through it without a lot of precipitation for Victoria itself. We did see some up the Cowichan Valley, further up island as well in some areas, some scattered showers. Victoria seems to be missing it, though, so far. Could see a very warm day once we clear through the clouds. We'll get into some sunshine. We'll have a high of 24, but with this extra moisture in the air, with this humidity, we're at a humidex of 27, so feeling quite warm today. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12, and then the haze might be arriving tomorrow. A bit of smoke back in the air, mainly sunny skies apart from that. We'll see a bit of breeze off the water, highs of 24, a humidex of 28, so feeling very warm tomorrow as well. Friday, sunshine, temperatures up to 24 degrees, and that's the same picture for Saturday and Sunday with mostly sunny skies. Temperatures in the mid-20s. That's carrying out most of the week. Right now for the temperatures in Saanich by the University of Victoria, 17 degrees. It actually didn't cool off quite as much as it has been overnight last night, and we're sort of noticing that. It's quite warm out there right now. In Langford, it is also 17 degrees. On the markets, North American stock markets are just opening up. The opening bells are ringing. Before we get to today's results, let's look at how yesterday closed. S&P TSX closed up 17 points to 36,475. The Dow was down 184 to 53,791. Canadian dollar at 71.9 cents U.S. at overseas trading, which is up just a little bit on the day. And I haven't looked at the barrel of crude oil in a while. Let me tell you about that. Crude oil closed yesterday down 36 cents a barrel to $82.84 U.S. a barrel. So still kind of staying stable so far.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
More wildfire coverage on the show today as we continue to talk about what this state of emergency means, all of the wildfires burning. It was interesting talking to the mayor of Summerland yesterday on the show. If you caught that, he was talking about how the landfill, for instance, was on fire.
Yeah.
Like even the garbage dump was
things you
was
don't
on
think
fire.
about, right?
Yeah. And like it was like, how do you deal with that? You can't just go and just dump a bucket of water on a landfill. It doesn't work. So, wow. Yeah, those kind of situations are still playing out this morning. And something that I wanted to explore, and we're going to do this next, was if, even though we're lucky here in Victoria, we've so far on the island been okay. We've seen the odd fire, but nothing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
A lot of folks will be heading on their pre-planned summer road trips or heading into other parts of British Columbia or through parts of British Columbia to get somewhere else. We're still in summer road trip season. What do you need to know about these fires when it comes to heading out onto the road on the mainland somewhere?
What's open, closed?
Yeah. So we've got a guest coming up in just a few moments. Trace Akers, Program Director with Road Safety at Work. He's got a few tips and tricks about trying to plan your summer road trip during a wildfire season like the one we're having right now.
No, you don't want to be caught in a detour that you didn't see coming. And Drive BC, and there's tons of maps online that will show you. But in real time, it's really important to stay up to date because it is a fluid situation that's changing constantly. With roads opening and closing all the time. So, and some main roads have been affected on the interior for sure. Some busy routes. So it's always good to plan ahead.
Yeah, our continuing wildfire coverage will continue in a moment, but right now it's 6:45. That means it's time for the headlines out of the newsroom. Here's Lisa.
The search for life in the rubble of Monday's powerful earthquake in Colombia is growing more desperate. Search teams are pushing against time to fight the threshold to locate the survivors before it's too late to find anyone alive. The quake has claimed at least 181 lives, and by some civilian track accounts, left more than 4,000 people still missing. Aid agencies consider the first 48 to 72 hours crucial for retrieving people alive, though that limit can be extended if people are trapped and they still have access to food and water. So let's hope that is the case. While the wildfire smoke in BC's interior is causing some poor or very poor air quality, it's also helping the firefight, strangely enough. The BC Wildfire Service's Cliff Chapman says smoke from that Bald Range fire at 178 kilometers in size, has drifted south from the Summerland region and settled over the city of Penticton. Chapman says the smoke has settled in valley bottoms, and that's actually helping to suppress the flames by stopping fires from accessing clean oxygen that would help them spread brighter and burn faster. More than 20,000 people have fled that fire alone, the Bald Range fire, which also claimed the life of an 80-year-old woman. And Sir Rod Stewart will not be able to continue his one last time farewell tour following a coronary stent procedure. Stewart has already canceled and postponed a few performances this year. The 81-year-old singer was scheduled to appear through to early September across North America, different venues. He says he's already feeling better, but he says he's disappointed he won't be able to finish the tour and looks forward to start performing soon. At 81, pretty good. That's your news to 646.
Yeah, we're just about to talk about driving around BC with the wildfires. So let's talk about driving around Victoria this morning on the commute. We've got your traffic coming up. If you see a problem, text me at 71010. That's up next.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Now in season, fresh BC peaches. Joyfully juicy. Tree ripened under the Okanagan sunshine. Picks them up today. For the roads right now, we continue to have a very light commute. I'm starting to see the volume picking up on the Trans-Canada Highway, hitting in from the West Shore into Victoria. But it's just kind of the slowdown through the bus lane widening project. People obeying the construction speed limit is the only thing I'm seeing for the Trans-Canada Highway. All the other major routes, Pat Bay Highway, the Malahat, everything is looking clear as a bell. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather forecast, we're talking about the small chance of showers for Greater Victoria this morning, which is clearing as we go. We haven't really seen much for Greater Victoria, at least. Sort of the surrounding area has seen a few scattered showers, but not the capital region itself. And we might be staying that way as the skies start to clear up. We will see a high of 24 degrees, a humidex of 27, so feeling quite warm today. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12. And then tomorrow, a bit of smoke haze returning to the forecast for Greater Victoria.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, with BC's wildfire situation continuing to make a lot of headlines, we've got a lot of the blazes burning across BC, continuing to burn. Smoke, as we've just been talking about in our forecast, it's coming to Victoria. I was reading that the smoke in some areas is actually helping because the smoke is kind of
strange, isn't it?
Kind of choking the fires a bit in a weird way.
Because it needs oxygen. So the more oxygen, the more wind blowing in is going to feed the flames.
Yeah.
And because the smoke has a dampening effect, strangely enough, fire does not like smoke, even though it creates it.
Yeah, and I was reading that the city of Penticton, for instance, has this thick layer of smoke that's settled over it, that's where the Bald Range fire is burning, that's affected Summerland so much. So all of this stuff is still going. We're continuing to follow it. But what if you happen to be about to leave on your summer road trip? You're taking the ferry over to the mainland. You're driving wherever. You got a trip. Should you go? What should you know about? How do you kind of navigate driving through a wildfire season in BC? Here to talk about that very thing, I got Trace Akers on the line. He is the program director with Road Safety at Work. Trace Akers, great to talk to you. How you doing?
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that's been on my mind this week, especially after the things really ramped up over the weekend with this, the one fire we've been talking about, the devastating fire in Summerland. It just makes me think, for the people who were about to take a drive anywhere in these parts of BC, what are some things to think about? So I'm glad you could join us for that. But maybe we should start with just what are the current fire situations when it comes to highways? We've been talking about the fires in the communities, but when it comes to our major highways, which ones are being affected and which ones should people be aware of if they were about to take that route?
Yeah, as far as I can see this morning, really the major closure continues to be Highway 97 through Summerland. So the route between Kelowna and Penticton is closed. There are a number of other fire activity areas throughout the province. For example, around Cache Creek, around between Merritt and Lytton, but no highway closures related to those. But that doesn't mean that those are areas that you should just drive into without taking some precautions.
Yeah, so first off, check to see if the highway's even open. As you mentioned, you can't take that one road up to Kelowna through the Penticton area, so there's a closure there. There's an example of being aware of what's closed. But talk more about what you just said. That doesn't necessarily mean you should just head into these areas even if a highway is open. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think really three things that you need to be aware of. First is if you don't need to be in those areas, stay away from them. We don't want to looky-loos driving through those areas just curious as to see what the fire activity looks like. Because just as you mentioned, the smoke is moving around the province, and it can be quite harmful and problematic to people, especially if you have pre-existing conditions such as asthma. So stay away if you can. That's the main thing. If you have to be in those areas, so for example, if you're a truck driver, if you're a delivery or a courier worker, and you need to be in areas where there is some fire activity and where there is quite a bit of smoke, there are certain precautions you should take. For example, when you're driving, make sure your air conditioner is on the recirculated mode if you're going through heavy smoke areas. And then when you're into clear air, then open the windows, open your vents, switch the air conditioning batch so you can clear the air as well. So keep as much fresh air as you can in your system, but avoid bringing a lot of that smoky air into your vehicle, and have some additional items on hand in your emergency kit. A lot more water is necessary at this time of the year. Also, pack some N95 mask in case you have to get out. And in case you are susceptible to smoke, wear that mask so you can avoid bringing that into your lungs. And the third thing that I would say is be very careful about alternate routes. So right now between Kelowna and Penticton, if you go online, you'll see that there are some Forest Service roads that are identified as potential alternate routes, but I would really caution against driving those routes unless you have driven them before and know where you're going, and unless you have the vehicle that can handle those kind of routes, because those are unpaved and can be pretty rough routes. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're trying to save a few minutes by taking a Forest Service route between two cities that might be cut off, the main highways cut off, and put yourself in an even worse position because you break down, you run out of gas, and some of those routes aren't covered by cell service. So those are three things. Don't go if you don't have to. Be prepared, and don't be looking for the shortcut for the alternate route unless you really know what you're doing.
Trace, all really good suggestions and a great checklist to have of things to pack and things to do. We've been seeing really dramatic footage online of people escaping flames, fire on both sides of a highway. I know this probably isn't quite in your wheelhouse. Maybe it is. What do you do if you find yourself in that situation for some reason?
Well, the first thing is know before you go. Check with emergency reports. Follow the directions of emergency personnel. Don't try to second guess. Make sure you know where you're going, where you need to evacuate to, if you do need to evacuate. And then, as I say, take some of those precautions so that you can really minimize the amount of smoke that's coming into the vehicle. With the amount of smoke cover in the Okanagan, things can change very, very quickly. I live in Kelowna. And 1 minute you can be looking out the window and it looks clear, there's blue sky, and the next minute you turn around and you can't see to the end of the block. So conditions do change very quickly. You have to be prepared for things to change. So as I say, if you don't need to be in those areas, stay away from them and take some other precautions, like make sure your headlights and taillights are fully on, because all of a sudden you can be in a situation where it's like fog. So it's like driving in fog. And you know what the precautions are you need to take in those situations.
And one other thought, because, I think that's a message to heed. Don't go to some of these places if you don't have to. I even got a texter here at 71010 saying, I wish people would postpone plans to travel into the BC interior and affected areas in the middle of a provincial emergency situation. The towns and neighboring towns don't need the added pressure of your vacation plans. Just stay at home and discover the island. That came from Dave and Souk. And I totally get that. But at the same time, there will be other parts of BC that will be unaffected that probably still want the tourism. This is summer season. This is a big time for them to make their money. And if you have to kind of go by some of these trouble spots, I guess that's the question. Do you cancel plans into an unaffected part of BC because of the wildfires in the other parts? And I guess that's a judgment call everybody is going to have to make. But to give these areas a wide berth, I suppose, is advice there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and know before you go. There's lots of information out there. DriveBC.ca will tell you what the routes are, the situation on any particular route that you want to travel. Any weather app, your radio station will provide pretty good advice. So it really is all about planning. And as we say, know before you go. Know the situation that you're getting yourself into before you head out. And if you do need to go into areas such as the Okanagan or such as areas around Kamloops or north of Kamloops, around Cache Creek, if you do need to go into those areas, then just think about some of those simple precautions you need to take to make sure that you keep you and your family safe. And for those who have to be there because of their jobs, employers have a responsibility to make sure that they're not sending their employers into situations that could put them at risk. So employers need to similarly know before they're sending their employees in there, make sure that they have the necessary supplies. Can they drive an alternate route if there's one that is perhaps a little riskier, or can they delay the trip altogether?
Trace, just because it is a social media word, just a word of caution to those looking for that Instagram shot or video.
Yeah, well, one of the things that emergency personnel absolutely do not need is unnecessary traffic on the roads in areas where they're trying to do their work. So, as I say, don't be a looky-loo. You don't want to be driving into an area just so you can see what the fire activity looks like. Stay away from those areas. Let emergency personnel do their jobs.
Trace Akers, Program Director with Road Safety at Work. Thanks for your time and thinking about a topic that might be on some people's minds as summer road trip season continues. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thank you.
7 o'clock news next on CFAX.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 7:01 on this Wednesday, August 12th. We've got this small chance of showers starting to leave us from overnight in Victoria. It's going to be clearing up as we get into it, and we'll tell you all about it in weather in just a moment. Right now, let's get to the news. Here's Lisa Best.
Thank you and good morning. The countdown on for the next provincial budget. The Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services has done its report about what it heard during public consultation in June. The report included 81 recommendations. They include establishing a strong fiscal plan that includes targeted spending reviews, clear deficit reduction targets, a declining debt to GDP ratio, and transparent reporting to spur economic growth. It also calls for continued reduction in the size of the provincial public service, while maintaining frontline service and repealing the planned provincial sales tax expansion to professional services to simplify and streamline the taxation systems. Up Island in Nanaimo, a 39-year-old man remains in custody, facing numerous charges in connection with an incident last week outside a local restaurant. Early Tuesday morning, an off-duty police officer walking to work spotted a suspect carrying a knife in an alley near a restaurant in the 100 block of Wallace Street. The officer was aware of court-imposed conditions on this man from possessing weapons, so he returned to the alley with backup, arresting the suspect, seizing a knife and a lighter, and they also discovered combustible materials piled against the wall of a building at the restaurant. 39-year-old Michael Haywood's next court appearance happens on Tuesday, which is August 18th. One of the concerns coming from the massive fire and evacuation of the Summerland area centers is all about the information or lack of. Many of the 12,000 evacuees from that community don't know what they're coming back to or when it's safe to do so. Emergency Management Minister Kelly Green says it's important to get the correct information out in a timely fashion.
We want to make sure that we're contacting people responsibly. Part of that is waiting for a safe time for inspectors to get in to understand and assess the condition of people's homes. We have used heavy urban search and rescue in situations like this, and I expect that they will be tapped again. They have the equipment to safely re-enter these areas and the knowledge and understanding to be able to do assessments of people's homes. I wouldn't want somebody to find out that their home had been lost on TV or on social media.
But that's what's happening in many cases, unfortunately. Local municipalities were the ones reaching out to residents once the information can be shared. But, of course, social media is its own animal. RCMP are actively investigating how the Summerland wildfire actually began. RCMP Relations Officer Staff Sergeant Chris Clark says access to the fire zone is not available just yet.
So it's very early days. I think that certainly this particular fire is being treated as suspicious as every fire is until proven otherwise. As we know, my colleagues spoke to it earlier, that human-caused fire does not necessarily mean that it's arson or that whether this particular fire is human-caused. We're at the early stages here. It's difficult for us to even get into the area simply due to the fact that the fire is still burning. So early days, investigation's ongoing, but well in hand.
BC Wildfire Service says about 4% of wildfires started in the season are the result of arson. Currently, we have 104 wildfires burning in the province, 46 of those considered out of control. There's no new fires burning on Vancouver Island. And that is your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you support a petition sparked by a Calgary one to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada. Over 80% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Chance of showers still hanging over us in Victoria, although it's starting to clear up as the morning goes on. We'll see a high of 24, and right now, quite warm. It didn't cool off that much overnight. It's 16 degrees officially at the airport. We are seeing 17 degrees, though, already in some parts of Victoria. I said already. I mean, that's as low as it got. We got down to about 17, and we'll start to go up from there. Over to CFAX 1070 Sports. Lots going on in baseball. Toronto Blue Jays, winners of 4 of their last 5, are now only 2.5 games back of an American League wildcard berth. And the Jays have won the first 2 of this 4-game series they're doing against the visiting Boston Red Sox. Right-hander Jose Sariano on the mound for the Jays tonight. The Red Sox have lost 4 games in a row. Mariners also on a bit of a losing skid, and they lost 4-1 to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium last night, dropping their 5th consecutive game. The Vancouver Whitecaps wrapped up their Leagues Cup competition last night with a 3rd straight loss to a Mexican opponent. This time, the MLS finalists from just a season ago lost 5-4 on penalties to the host Tigres UANL in Monterrey, Mexico. So that's it for the Leagues Cup for the Whitecaps. They're out. We've got the Final Four at the National Bank Open. On the Toronto side of things, we've got, by the end of the day, just 2 left standing in the women's singles draw in today's first semifinal. 7th-seeded Iga Świątek of Poland plays 9th-seeded Alina Svitolina of Ukraine, while on the second match, 4th-seeded American Coco Gauff plays 2nd-seeded Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan. The winners will play in tomorrow's final. And then 3 Americans and 1 Italian is the lineup for tonight's men's semifinal at the National Bank Open. On the Montreal side of things, winners of today's matches will play in tomorrow's men's final. So we're almost at the end of the tournament. And that is your CFAX 1070 Sports to 7:09. Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Now in season, fresh BC peaches, joyfully juicy, tree-ripened under the Okanagan sunshine. Pick some of those up today at Thrifty Foods. On the road, still seeing a fairly typical situation. We've got just the slowdown through the construction zone on the Trans-Canada highways. The only thing that's really standing out this morning. Everything else looks very clear. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. Watch out for the ongoing gas main work on Langford Parkway near the Langford Lake Road, but the detour there is working quite well, and there's no real slowdown. But that road work will continue. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. For the weather forecast, yeah, still looking at that weather radar. And while we have seen some scattered showers off over the water, off the Juan de Fuca Strait and up in the Cowichan Valley, we've seen some. Alberni Valley has been seeing some scattered showers overnight, but Greater Victoria has remained dry, and it looks like we're kind of heading that way as this system moves out. But we are still technically under a small chance of showers for Greater Victoria this morning. Once it clears up, though, we'll get into some sunshine, highs of 24, humidex of 27, so feeling a bit warmer in that humidity. Tonight, a few clouds, lows to 12. Tomorrow, it is a mainly sunny day, but we got some more smoke rolling in, so we'll see that smoke haze back into the forecast for Victoria tomorrow. Friday, sunshine. Saturday, Sunday, mostly sunny with a few clouds. Temperatures holding around the mid-20s right through the next few days, with overnight lows going down between 12 and 14 degrees. Now, right now, didn't cool off that much overnight. We're around about 17 degrees for parts of Victoria. We do have the official temperature as 16 at the airport. Getting our first look at the stock market numbers as the trading day is underway. S&P TSX up 119 points to start things off at 36,595. The Dow up 39 to 53,831. NASDAQ up 155 to 26,600. Canadian dollar at 71.9 cents US.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, we're going to do it again. We're going to give away Spam-A-Lot tickets a little later in the show.
Okay.
This is just after the 8 o'clock news, sports, traffic, weather, all that. We will take another random caller, and if you are the one who gets through, we will ask you to perform for us some level of Monty Python sketch. All you have to do is do it. There's no wrong answer.
Short skit.
As long as you do something, we will give you a pair of tickets to see Spam-A-Lot, the Broadway and Victoria musical that's coming to the Royal Theatre at the end of August. We've got, I think it's on for 3 nights, kind of over the course of a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tickets are still on sale now if you want to get them, but if you want to win the tickets, stay tuned just after 8. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed all of the sketches that we've been getting so far.
It's been very creative.
What will yours be? Have you thought about it? We were talking to, I can't remember his name, the winner yesterday. He was
Tony.
Tony, thank you. We were talking about how there was an era where you didn't have YouTube clips of things like the TV show you watched the night before. So I remember doing this when I was a kid. You'd kind of like perform the bits of the show you watched with your friends as a way of kind of reliving it.
Yeah, you put a sheet up in the living room. Parents had to sit through it.
You'd sit around the schoolyard and quote last night's Simpsons episodes, for instance. Or I've heard that a lot about Monty Python when it first came up. People who, back in the day, it was on cable TV, and once it was gone, it was gone.
Right.
You had to try to remember what it was, and you'd perform them with your friends the next day. And I feel like there's a real spirit of that going on right here at CFAX 1070 as we get this into its third day.
It's
Stay tuned.
fantastic.
It's coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, there's a topic that we're going to explore before then. Did you know that up in the Nanaimo area, the RCMP have resorted to using a helicopter for traffic enforcement? They've been partnering with the Comox Air Services to catch people doing things like speeding.
Yeah, there's been a lot of motorcycles doing bad things too.
Yeah.
So having eyes in the sky and police on the ground. Apparently, they had a very busy Sunday.
Yeah. Well, we're going to check in on that because an interesting story how they're using helicopters to help enforce the traffic police stuff up in Nanaimo. We're going to talk to them. Sorry,
The campaign.
Do you ever start a sentence and you don't quite know where it's going?
Oh, every day.
So that's sorry.
It's okay. I'm here to finish them for you. So
traffic enforcement via helicopters.
Right.
We're talking about that coming up in just a moment. But right now, let's get to the headlines out of the CFAX newsroom. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. One of southern BC's most destructive wildfires has now grown to 178 kilometers in size. The Bald Range fire on the western shore of Okanagan Lake continues to keep 20,000 people at bay, wondering if their homes still exist around the Summerland area. Since it first erupted on Friday, we knew the community of Falder, with a population of just over 200, is largely destroyed. The BC Wildfire Service says 100 Mexican firefighters arrived yesterday on the ground to help battle the blaze. Also, 102 firefighters from Costa Rica are joining the fight again here as well. So we've got a lot of boots on the ground. We've just got to have Mother Nature cooperate. A recent study out of Italy suggests that eating tomatoes daily decreases fat buildup in your liver. Researchers say one factor is because raw tomatoes are rich in an antioxidant called lycopene, which helps fight inflammation. The study involved about 80 people, all under the age of 65, most of whom were males. So far, the scientists say that the much larger, more inclusive studies still need to be done. Fatty liver disease is caused by obesity, excessive alcohol intake, and diabetes. And a U.S. athlete will take a tip from Australian residents storing the boots upside down to ensure nothing slithers inside overnight. A high school football player in Arkansas felt unusual movement inside his headgear following warm-ups last week. You know where we're going with this. He brought his helmet to the assistant coach for inspection. They found a 2-foot-long cottonmouth behind some padding in the helmet. Yeah, that one's venomous. The viper liked its new home, was reluctant to exit the helmet, but police actually had to pour water into the brain bucket to force the snake out. and into a bag. Animal service technicians took it to a wooded area far behind the school to release it back where it belongs. And that is your news to 7:16.
All right, exploring this helicopter enforcement of traffic up in the Nanaimo area coming up in just a moment. But first, we'll take a look at our local traffic. What's going on in Victoria? If you see any problems, text me at 71010. We're going to do our traffic and weather update in just a moment. CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. The time in Victoria is 7:19, and it continues to be a pretty easy commute. West Shore commute is only really being held up by the usual slowdown through the construction zone of the Trans-Canada Highway, where they continue to do the bus lane widening. So thank you for obeying the speed limit. Otherwise, we don't have any issues at all. Text me at 71010 if you see a crash, incident, or something else unusual holding up your commute. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now. 8 o'clock sailing still has lots of vehicle deck space on it. And the weather, we've had a little cloud. We've had this small chance of showers over Victoria this morning, but that's starting to clear up. We will see a sunny day and a high of 24 with a humidex of 27, so it's going to feel a bit warmer in the humidity today. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12, and then by tomorrow we're getting some smoke haze back into the forecast. Otherwise, it's a sunny day and a high of 24. The humidity is still in the forecast for tomorrow, so it's going to feel warm. It's also going to feel a little smokier tomorrow. And the longer range forecast for Friday and the weekend, mostly sunny, a few clouds here and there, and temperatures in the mid-20s right through.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, apparently dangerous driving has become a big issue in the Nanaimo area, and RCMP have resorted to bringing in a helicopter in a recent enforcement frenzy. Police say on Sunday they partnered with the Comox Air Services. During the operation, they observed 46 traffic violations, issued 33 charges under the Motor Vehicle Act, issued 8 warnings, served one 90-day immediate roadside prohibition, and impounded 4 vehicles, all with the help of this helicopter. Nanaimo RCMP Operations Officer Inspector Donovan Tate is joining us to talk more about this. Sir, how you doing?
Good morning.
So you turned to a helicopter with the Comox Air Services. Can you tell me what led to this move?
Well, the helicopter is a tool that's available to Island District detachments to do a wide variety of police enforcement, safety, search and rescue operations. Last week, we ran a targeted traffic safety operation using the police helicopter. It's actually an island asset. It's based out of the Comox Valley at the airport there, working together with our ground units in the Nanaimo area. And the goal was simply to try and get some visibility, reduce some dangerous driving that's been leading to some crashes along our highway and some corridors here in the city.
And so this is a helicopter that other jurisdictions can use. You were just like, hey, we need it for our targeted enforcement. Do you do it often, bring the helicopter in, or was this an unusual move?
No, I mean, it's a tool that's used. You can imagine the helicopter is a very busy police asset.
Right.
There's a lot of planning and, project management that goes into that. We picked a day that would be strategic to meet our goals, and they were available. We've used the helicopter in other police enforcement or activities where as needed. So it's not unusual, no.
Okay.
It definitely... it got a lot of attention this weekend.
Yeah, and you sure found a lot. I mean, I'm just like I read off the top, just the list of different traffic violations you caught from the air was quite astounding.
Yeah, it was busy weekends. The summers are busy. People moving up and down the highway. It's just I don't think it was any busier, any worse than any other weekend, but we're there to be visible, try and keep the roads safe, and be a good reminder for folks that we are out there. I will mention the helicopters is one tool. We had a number of ground units and some other strategic police activities that we use outside of the helicopter that assisted as well.
Donovan, I was wondering if you could comment on the tickets the fines that were laid out. Some of them were stunt driving, some of them were excessive speed. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the helicopter is able to see a wider, more broad picture. So we're able to, the helicopter with their trained tactical flight pilots and spotters that work in the platform, they're able to pick out high-risk driving behaviors, whether it's weaving in and out into traffic, speed. Motorcycles are challenging for us. So with the amount of time that was spent on the operation, they were able to observe a number of traffic violations that were intercepted on the ground.
Okay, can you comment on where these riders or drivers are from? Because we do have word sometimes that people come to the island to ride or drive our roads.
Yeah, I couldn't say specifically, but I would imagine a lot of them are local or local to the island. Yes, the island is well known for motorcycle rides and our great roads that we have and highways and such. But I couldn't speculate if these are all visitors.
I would like to know more about how it works, and you kind of got into this a little bit. So you got the helicopter, and there's the people in the helicopter. They're looking down at the highway or wherever they're looking. Are they just watching to see if they see anything unusual, or do they have like their own radar gun up there, or how are they actually kind of catching this stuff? And I guess then did they communicate to somebody on the ground who, I guess you do a better job of explaining it. Like, how does it actually function?
Well, you pretty much hit it on the head there. I mean, the tactical flight officers, I mean, these are specially trained RCMP officers that work in the air on this platform in the helicopter. So they have a trained eye. They do have, visual and different pieces of equipment that help them pinpoint and look for what they're looking for in this operation. Obviously, fast-moving vehicles that are driving unsafe, weaving anything that kind of catches their eye. The helicopter is staffed with 2 police officers, one that's specifically looking for infractions, and obviously the pilot that's keeping everyone safe. So yeah, there's a lot of training, and then they communicate fluidly with our ground units, whether it's the police motorcycles. We use unmarked police vehicles as well as our marked police cars. So it is quite complex, and operation that needs to have a lot of planning and ultimately just keeping people safe, right?
And it's amazing what you can see, because I was reading about some of the incidents you encountered on Sunday during this aerial enforcement, and it wasn't one of them. There was a motorcyclist without a license plate, and they were able to see that from the helicopter?
Oh, yeah. The equipment the helicopter has can pinpoint right to the ground, high power, high resolution cameras and whatnot. So they're able to actually read license plate numbers, make and models of motorcycles and vehicles, perhaps the sex or the gender of the rider, anything specific to the vehicle. Yeah, they can. You'd be surprised what they can pick out from the air. And there's other applications for that as well. If we're looking for lost people in the bush, or we're looking for a stolen car, or something along those lines, infrared, that sort of stuff, heat signatures. The helicopter is a great asset.
So, pardon the term, but considering the haul that you made on Sunday, this is not one and done, right? You can do this again?
Yeah, I mean, we don't advertise when and where we're going to do this, but this is certainly, like I said, the helicopter is a busy asset. This is proactive enforcement. The helicopter is often used for emergency, to move tactical units up and down the island, to move officers around, search and rescue, that sort of stuff. But if we can pin them down to a couple days where we can use them and get organized, we had a successful campaign. I don't look at the numbers. What I see as a success in my role is raising the awareness of dangerous driving, and that the police are watching, and we are. This is a priority for the area. We've had a number of unfortunate and tragic collisions in the Nanaimo area, and it's our job to do what we can to reduce those. And I'll just say, in the absence of the helicopter, traffic enforcement is being done by ground units and other assets as well. So,
but sometimes it's from the air. Be warned.
Sometimes absolutely.
Inspector Donovan Tate, he's operations officer with Nanaimo RCMP, where they did this just recently. A number of tickets and violations caught with the help of that asset. Thank you so much for telling us the story.
Cheers. Have a good day, guys.
All right. Cheers. So we'll take a break. We got the 7:30 news coming up in just a moment, but it's got a text message here. Texter at 71010 says, could they catch public urinators?
Maybe that's next. Maybe it's on their radar.
Maybe we'll ask that question next time. All right. 7:30 news coming up next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Experience Victoria Fringe Fest, August 26th through September 6th. Feel the roar at Pacific FC. Get your tickets today at cplsoccer.com. West Shore Swap Shop and Market is at Rally at Royal Bay every Sunday. Support Goldstream Food Bank with a $2 admission or a food donation. Get more event info at cfax1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
.31 on this Wednesday, August 12th. Good morning. Welcome to the day. We got a small chance of showers hanging over us right now in Victoria, but that's clearing up as the day goes on. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan. Many of the fires burning across this province, and there are 104 as of this morning. Many have been smoked out in a number of days. While it's led to poor air quality, it's helped the fire fight. Cliff Chapman with the BC Wildfire Service says that thick layer of smoke that settled over the Okanagan Valley in Penticton appears to have drifted south from the Summerland region, where the ball of fire, range fire, continues to burn at 178 kilometers in with the torched land. He says the shift in weather that causes the smoke to clear may actually increase the potential of fire spreading, but the weather forecast right now looks quite favorable.
It should give us some conditions to have success in suppression, but in other areas where there isn't rain, we're going to see potentially new lightning starts. We're going to see winds that are going to be elevated and unpredictable in terms of direction. And so we are going to continue to be challenged even if we see precipitation enter this province.
RCMP have launched a criminal investigation of the cause of that fire that erupted on Friday. Reinforcements arriving in southern BC to fight the flames. Canadian Press reporter Brianne Charlebois shares details from Penticton.
The Canadian Press has talked to several of the evacuees in recent days who described harrowing events of them learning of the fire and fleeing their properties as ash bore down on them. They've also talked about how hard the last few days have been without answers. Information has slowly been trickling out via social media from those who stayed behind and have posted photos and videos, but many still remain in the dark.
The BC Wildfire Service says that 100 Mexican firefighters were on the ground yesterday, 102 arriving from Costa Rica today. There are 104 wildfires burning, 46 considered out of control. No new fires on Vancouver Island. The single fire we do have burning up island that was discovered back on July 23rd is still considered being held. Firesmoke.ca forecasts that the wildfire smoke will infiltrate Greater Victoria around noon today. It will be expected to worsen between 9 and 5 tomorrow, so something to watch if you have any breathing difficulties or you just don't like the fire. BC Agriculture Minister Lana Popham says an estimated 50,000 farm animals are also facing the effects. 146 agricultural properties under evacuation orders. Popham says the animals may not be in imminent danger, but they are threatened. She says the risk is being managed under a program called the province's Range Rider program, which includes bringing livestock to safety during emergencies.
If a ranch is under threat of fire, these folks head out on horseback or on ATVs and they find the cattle and they move them into either safe areas where there's feed and hopefully water.
Popham says the program recently helped the Coldwater Indian Band, where 1,500 cattle were moved within 24 hours after the community was placed under evacuation order. Across the pond, the two wildfires burning in Olympic National Park have been doused. The fire had burned, one of them had burned less than an acre on the southern slope of Sourdough Mountain across the strait, almost directly south of Souk. There's also been increased activity on the Mount Tom Creek fire, which is about 5 kilometers to south of that. The Canadian military is holding a drone testing and demonstration event with around 30 Canadian manufacturers in the Ottawa Valley today. Lieutenant General Darcy Molstad, head of the Canadian Joint Force Commander, I should say Lieutenant. The military is working closely with the industry as the technology rapidly develops. He says the military needs to do more than just buy a lot of drones. It has to ensure the capability meets the military needs.
We recognize in the Canadian Armed Forces that we need to accelerate the adoption of uncrewed systems of all natures. There are capabilities that are demonstrated day in and day out in the major conflicts that we see happening throughout the world. It is the new way of warfare, and we have to have the right balance.
Ottawa is working on getting key drone procurement projects rolling out in the coming weeks. That is your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you support a petition sparked in Calgary to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada? 80% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com or the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. People weighing in on our news poll, by the way, at 7:10:10. One texter says, I've had many neighbors over the years. Being adversarial has never made my home a happier place. The poll shows more about Canadians and their pettiness. That's from Dawn. But on the other side, texter at 7:10:10 says, I vote to remove Pete Hoekstra as ambassador for Canada. So, got people on both sides of that issue. Texting in at 7:10:10. We love it when you join the conversation. Over to CFAX 1070 Sports. We have news that businessman Josh Kushner and Bob Iger are reportedly buying the Los Angeles Lakers for more than $12 billion. It would be a record-breaking price if the sale is approved by the NBA Board of Governors. Mark Walter bought a controlling interest in the Lakers from the Buss family last October and is now agreeing to sell. He also owns the Dodgers and parts of other sports teams. Kushner and Iger have been involved in the process to bring an NBA expansion team to Las Vegas. So, yeah, a little breaking business news in the world of sports. On the fields, let's talk about the majors. The Toronto Blue Jays continue their push for an American League wildcard spot against the Boston Red Sox. Toronto's won the first two contests of a 4-game series, sits 2.5 games out of the wildcard spot now. Last night, we had Ernie Clement hit into a fielder's choice in the 6th inning, giving George Springer enough time to score as the Blue Jays eked out that 5-3 win over the Boston Red Sox. Starting pitcher Dylan Cease says the Jays are picking up momentum as they've won 6 out of their last 10, including 2 of 3 in Philadelphia back over the weekend.
Been playing really well, even in Philly. I mean, fighting hard, doing the extra inning games, and just in general, I feel like we've been playing pretty clean baseball.
The Jays, like I said, now getting closer to that final wild card spot. We'll see what happens tonight. Over to tennis. The women's semifinals take center stage today at the National Bank Open in Toronto. Ukraine's Alina Svitolina faces Poland's Iga Swiatek. American Coco Gauff then faces Kazakhstan's Alina Rybakina, who rallied past Naomi Osaka in 3 sets yesterday. And 3 Americans and a Spanish teenager are in the men's semifinals today at the National Bank Open in Montreal on the men's side. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports at 7:39.
For all your DIY exterior product needs, visit ProTech Exterior Products in person at 875 Viewfield Road or at beahomepro.com.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather still remaining pretty clear out there. No major incidents, although there's a report that there was a fender bender or some kind of incident on the Trans-Canada Highway just past the Lee Road interchange as you come in. I don't see any slowdown. From where I'm sitting, it looks like things are still moving fine. So if you have any further updates, potential fender bender, Trans-Canada Highway, heading into town just past Lee Road, let me know at 7:10:10. Otherwise, things are very typical this morning. We are starting to see some volume delays from the West Shore into Victoria, but it seems just to be the standard commuting volume, nothing too crazy. And for the BC Ferries, Swartz Bay to Swasin 8 o'clock sailing is coming up, and there's lots of room left for vehicle space. The weather forecast has been interesting because we've had some cloudy skies and a small chance of showers for Greater Victoria. That's what's been in the forecast. We haven't actually seen anything as far as I can tell. No showers have fallen over land. We've seen some showers off the Juan de Fuca Strait, but not actually getting into the Capital Regional District itself. Some showers up island have fallen, but it's all clearing up as the day goes on. We'll get into some sunshine. Highs of 24. Humidex of 27, so quite humid today. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12. And then tomorrow, it is a mainly sunny forecast. However, there is some smoke haze returning to our forecast tomorrow as well. So be aware of that. And right now for the temperatures, we're at 17 degrees for a lot of Victoria, which is kind of as low as it got last night. We're starting to see some temperatures come up. We're up to 18 now in Colwood. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto up 146 to 36,622. The Dow is up 49 to 53,841. The Nasdaq is up 169 to 26,615. Canadian dollar at 71.9 cents U.S., which is where we started the day at.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
We love it when you join the conversation at 7-10-10, and a few listeners weighing in on the conversation we just had a few moments ago about up in Nanaimo, I guess after some serious crashes and some traffic concerns. Nanaimo RCMP used their the helicopter they have access to help do some enforcement back on Sunday. Caught a ton of violators, and it was interesting to hear him talk about how they use the helicopter, and they've got cameras and stuff up there. They can zoom right in and read a license plate, and
You can see the whites of the person's eyes.
Exactly. They did a big enforcement thing. I have a texter at 71010 saying, "We have lived coast to coast, and Nanaimo is the worst for loud vehicles and dangerous drivers. Horrible," says the texter.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too. There's been some bad driving activity and bad riding activity up there. I don't know why Nanaimo gets all the love in that department, but it seems to be something big enough that they had to crack down from the air as well.
Yeah, so motorcyclists made up a big chunk of the people caught doing bad things up in Nanaimo. And you were saying that it's kind of known as people will come here to ride.
People come from the mainland and just the Pat Bay Highway alone. We've seen cars do that. We've seen specialty cars, and riders have been stopped. Drivers have been stopped with excessive speed. The Pat Bay is one of them, coming off the ferry. And I'm not saying that people come over to the mainland just for that. I mean, but it is a thing. Coming over to the island, taking the ferry over to the island and riding or driving in a sports car is a thing because it's beautiful to do that here. You just have to be prudent with your speed and your safety.
Texter 71010 says, if they can use a helicopter to pinpoint motor vehicle violators, wouldn't it make a lot more sense to use a drone? Zero fuel cost, no pilot risk, and a lot harder to spot.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you know what? I bet you that day is coming as we see more and more drones used in more and more ways. I bet you that is something we will eventually see, Texter. Yeah, I don't have any answer for you.
Because VicBD is using drones now for a lot of the larger events, not intrusive at all, and really easy to put eyes in the sky as to what's going on in real time. So maybe, does it make sense to do that? I mean, down in the States, in many, many U.S. states, there's signs everywhere, especially on the major highways, of Air Force controlled, speed Air Force controlled. And you don't always see the plane, but they find you, and people are issued tickets as a result. So more of that here, possibly. Maybe it's because of the geography. I don't know. But it would be good.
Yeah, Texter says they're speeding in Nanaimo because the speed limit rises to 120 kilometers an hour. Yeah, there is. Once you get past Nanaimo, some of those highways get nice and fast. That's for sure.
But then 120, that doesn't mean do 150.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is I think some people have that mindset that, I'm just going to go 20 above whatever the speed limit is.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is 7:45. Over to the headlines. Here again is Lisa.
Still in Nanaimo, RCMP have cracked down on public safety issues around the Diana Krall Plaza in the downtown core. They did a 2-day blitz with surveillance and enforcement operations in and around the building. As a result, officers made 10 arrests, seizing about 35 grams of illicit drugs, almost $1,000 in cash, as well as an assortment of weapons. Nanaimo RCMP say these types of focused enforcement initiatives may continue in the future. A man who was once Canada's top soldier has been tapped as the next strategic defense advisor of the National Bank of Canada. Former Chief of Defense Staff Rick Hillier spent more than 35 years with the Canadian Armed Forces and will assist the bank in its defense and security clients. The National Bank CEO Laurent Ferrier calls Hillier one of Canada's most respected military leaders and a massive strategic thinker. Last weekend was the biggest of the year for cruise ship passengers touring Greater Victoria, but this weekend is pretty huge too. 29,000 cruise passengers, about that, disembarking in Victoria between Friday and Sunday. On Friday, Norwegian Bliss, Eurodam, and Royal Princess will start the influx of bringing more than 9,900 passengers to the city. And this year's end-to-end cycling rally, a relay that is, raised about $300,000 for the Island Kids Cancer Association. It's that 2-day non-stop 1,000-kilometer ride of 9 cyclists riding in groups of 2 or 3 happened in mid-June from Victoria to Port Hardy. What a hardy group. Fundraising include everything from hockey games to concerts to cookie sales. The challenge will be doing it again in 2027, so keep a watch for endtoendcancer.com in September for news about the application process. And that is your news to 747.
Oh, hey, texter with a good point that the highway north of Nanaimo was reduced to 110 kilometers an hour as the speed limit back when John Horgan was still premier. However, people still do drive well over that limit. That's from Chris. Yeah, it's 110 now. It was 120 for a bit. But yeah, very good point. Texter at 71010. Continuing our wildfire coverage, interesting conversation to have in just a few moments here. As technology continues to grow, are we using technology to its full advantage when it comes to our wildfire fighting in BC, or are we kind of stuck doing practices that have been around for a while? We're going to talk to an interesting guest who's the Director of BC Affairs with the Council of Canadian Innovators about what kind of technological advances might be out there when it comes to wildfire fighting. That's the conversation we're having right in a few moments after traffic and weather. And if you got a crash, accident, something causing trouble out there, you can text us at 71010.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. 40 years of Fringe magic. Experience Victoria Fringe Fest, August 26th through September 6th. Feel the roar at Pacific FC Soccer. Get your soccer tickets today at cplsoccer.com. Live music, good vibes, and fun for all ages. Soberfest is back August 15th at Starlight Stadium.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Oh, hey, CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Let's get into it. What's going on the roads? No crashes or accidents right now. But we're talking speed limits right now because of the big enforcement that the Nanaimo RCMP did recently. This texter says, "Good morning. Try living on Central Saanich Road between Island View and Mount Newton, where the speed limit is 50. I'd estimate that 90% of drivers go anywhere from 20 to 100 kilometers over the speed limit." Wow. Yeah. No. And then this texter says, "Unfortunately, the speeding is not just on the Parkway. It's the old Island Highway, side roads, parking lots, you name it." Yeah, texters letting us know their experiences. I guess you can see why Nanaimo was using a helicopter to bust speeders and traffic violators recently. Interesting conversation. Thanks for joining it at 7:10:10. Right now, though, no major issues on the roads for Greater Victoria. It's looking like a fairly typical commute, no sailing waits. And in the weather forecast, we're going to clear out of these clouds and the small chance of showers we've had as we get into the morning. Eventually, it's clearing skies and highs up to 24. A little humid, too. Right now, we got 17 degrees over much of Victoria.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Up next, the Council of Canadian Innovators is a technology business advocacy organization, and their director of BC Affairs has penned an op-ed in the Vancouver Sun addressing the issue of whether or not we are, I guess, innovating enough when it comes to dealing with our wildfires and the ignition risks that we have here in BC. We wanted to talk more about this op-ed. So I got the person who helped pen it, Kirsten Enmark, Director of BC Affairs for the Council of Canadian Innovators, joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Oh, good morning, Ryan. I'm doing well this morning.
Great to talk to you. We'll get into your op-ed in a second, but maybe tell us more about what your organization is all about.
Sure. Yeah, the Council of Canadian Innovators, we're a national business council. We represent about 175 Canadian innovation companies from across Canada. And, you know, these companies are not startups. They're Canadian headquartered tech companies that are rapidly scaling and competing globally. And, you know, as you mentioned earlier at CCI, we spend our time advocating for what Canadian tech companies need to grow, including better access to customers, capital, and talent. And so when anchor tech companies scale, then our overall national economy grows.
So oh, go ahead.
No,
I cut you off.
No.
Oh, no.
Well, I was just going to say one of the things we have been advocating for both federally and provincially is for governments to procure Canadian innovation to solve problems. You know, public procurement is a powerful lever to help Canadian firms scale. And, you know, obviously we're in a time right now where everyone is impacted by the wildfires. We all have friends and family across BC to a greater or lesser degree impacted by the fires, affecting our community safety, affecting our livelihoods. And this is really a great opportunity to procure innovation for government really to really add to their toolkit, you know, to reduce ignition risks and to detect fires. You know, the missing link isn't really innovation. It's really public procurement. And, you know, I think our Wildfire Innovation Fund is that bridge that could allow local governments to adopt new technologies and scale solutions.
But let's talk more about what that could look like. And maybe we'll start by saying, are you seeing any particular areas of BC's wildfire fighting or maybe prevention that seems out of date that you think could use a bit of innovation?
Well, definitely, you know, and I can maybe give an example as well. So, you know, first of all, I think in terms of fighting wildfires, you know, when we look at our budget, I think BC has become really quite dependent on our contingency funds. And so, you know, when costs are very unpredictable, it's very difficult to then come up with a plan. So when we actually spend public funds on innovation that prevents wildfires, we can not only save money, but really have more control over the spending and ultimately save money. You know, so one example I would say in terms of where innovation has really helped, one of our members, Sunset Technologies, in Vernon, they have a pilot agreement with Vernon, and they caught over 350 fires before they became a problem. Sensenet Technologies, their technology is one where they use AI and sensors to detect wildfires several 100 kilometers away. And so, you know, if you can detect those fires early on, then it really allows you to put those fires out quickly. In fact, the fire chief in Vernon credits Sensenet SenseNet's technology with saving the city really hundreds of dollars in terms of putting out the wildfires.
So there's an example of you've got a technology that happens to be a BC technology, so it's a local company doing this. It's useful. Are those companies getting enough support, I guess, is where this goes?
Well, I think what we're seeing is that there's support in terms of having pilots and having test beds. There's support from the province in terms of testing a lot of these technologies. But once you have a proven technology, there's really a commercialization gap. You have a proven technology. There's a lot of BC-based companies that are selling that innovation to other provinces, selling it to other countries, but they don't necessarily have the opportunities here in British Columbia. What we're saying is that public procurement, when government actually provides a contract to an innovator, it's better than a tax credit. It's better than a grant. A bona fide contract allows them to scale. So in BC, we have all this great wildfire innovation technology. There's lots here born in BC, scaling in BC. It could be used all over the province. Lots of different kinds of technology. But what we have is that commercialization gap. And so if government can actually create a program to really help address that commercialization gap by awarding contracts, this could really help our companies scale up. So again,
I guess that's the call here. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Like we think that Wildfire Innovation Fund could really help bridge that gap. It could really help our BC-built innovations scale up and compete globally.
Kirsten, have you been in contact with government officials on this discussion?
We did reach out with this idea to the province. Now that we're coming up to BC budget 2027, and the province has opened up. They just actually wrapped up their consultation with the public and with interest holders. But also, I think when this came up, we did approach the province with this idea. We do think it's a great BC budget 2027 idea to actually include a wildfire innovation fund.
Well, we got to leave it there just because we're right at a time. But thank you so much for shedding light on the issue. I think that's interesting. Just the fact that we've got the startups, we've got the money to get these things rolling, but then there's a bit of a gap after that. What do you do? And if we've got this technology to help with wildfires, for instance, maybe there needs to be more done to help those companies flourish. Kirsten and Mark is Director of BC Affairs for the Council of Canadian Innovators. Thanks for the conversation today.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
All right. Oh, and check out your op-ed in the Vancouver Sun. If people want to find out more, you can read it there. We'll take a break, though. We got the 8 o'clock news coming up. And then, yes, we are giving away another pair of tickets to Spam-A-Lot, but you got to perform a Monty Python sketch for us on the radio. Get ready. We're going to take that call after the news, sports, traffic, and weather.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8:01 on this Wednesday, August the 12th. Small chance of showers that's been over us overnight is starting to clear out of the forecast for Victoria. We're getting into some sunshine later today, and a full forecast is coming your way in just a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
A lot of swimmers facing waves. The City of Victoria announcing the Crystal Pool and Fitness Centre will close permanently on September 25th. That will spark the process to build a new health and wellness facility. Until it's built, rec programs and services will transition to the newly named Victoria Recreation Centre on Broughton Street. Repairs and upgrades underway on that site. The planned opening isn't until early 2027, so there could be a 6-month span there where you don't have somewhere to swim. Starting September 11th, visitors can check out historical photos from the 55 years of operations. Will be set up in the Crystal Pool lobby for you. You can also sign the memory wall and get a commemorative Crystal Pool sticker with admission. But again, there's a 6-month gap there, so we're going to hear from Rec and Facilities Park Director Derek Newman. He'll be live at 8:20, a few minutes from now, to talk about closing on the 25th and what options you have for working out and swimming locally. Frustrated wildfire evacuees from Summerlin say they're seeking out alternate sources of information about the fate of their community because they're not hearing enough from official channels. This comes as authorities warn about risk of misinformation online. Cliff Chapman with the BC Wildfire Service says his staff is aware of residents' concerns, noting the situation is fluid.
We are working around the clock on the Bald Range fire to try to establish control lines, to try to establish tactics that can allow the safe return home. That is what we do on all of our fires. But even last night, without much wind, we were seeing very challenging conditions and quite significant growth in some areas of that wildfire.
The province head said that property damage from that Bald Range fire is significant through Summerland. The blaze destroyed numerous homes and razed most of the community of Falder, with a population of 215 before moving into Summerland. The BC Wildfire Update province-wise has 104 fires burning as of this morning, 46 of those considered out of control. That single fire on Vancouver Island that is still burning, it was sparked on July 23rd. That's considered being held. No new fires in the past day. But Firesmoke.ca does forecast that wildfire smoke will infiltrate our neighborhood, Greater Victoria, around noon today, actually most of southern Vancouver Island for that matter. And it's expected to worsen between 9 and 5 tomorrow. So something to consider if you're planning some outdoor activities. It's a topic on the CFAX poll question today at this point. 30,000 Canadians signing that petition calling for the U.S. representative in Ottawa to be kicked out of this country.
The online petition is set to be presented in the House of Commons in the fall. It says Pete Huckstra should be declared persona non grata, and the Canadian government should request his removal as U.S. ambassador to Canada. It accuses Huckstra of undermining the Canada-U.S. diplomatic relationship and of intervening in Canadian political discourse in a manner that's inconsistent with diplomatic protocol. It also calls on the federal government to direct a parliamentary committee to review U.S. diplomatic interference in Canadian affairs. A spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy declined to comment. The petition was started by a Calgary woman and will be presented by Green Party leader Elizabeth May in Parliament. Sarah Ritchie, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
And Canadian-U.S. trade officials met for nearly an hour in Washington yesterday for more talks on an effort to try to avoid the latest tariff threats from Donald Trump. Take effect next week on the 19th. But despite a third consecutive week of in-person chats, CTV News chief political correspondent and CFAX host Vashi Capello says we still know very little about what or any progress being made.
There's really not a lot of information that the government is communicating to Canadians at all. Clearly, we are preparing for the possibility of making concessions. What are we going to get in exchange? Lowering of tariffs, not elimination of tariffs, but lowering. And, there's not really any discussion about what is palatable to Canadians, what isn't palatable. I feel like I can't say conclusively they're making progress. They're not. Yeah, they're in Washington more, but we've been here before.
And it's not clear right now when trade officials are set to meet again. That's your news to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you support a petition sparked in Calgary to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada. 80% saying yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app and Twitter X. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:07.
Do you want to see Spam-A-Lot, the musical, come into Victoria with the Broadway and Victoria folks bringing this great show? Well, we've got another pair of tickets to give away today to a caller who performs a Monty Python sketch for us. That's coming up in just a moment. Get ready. I'll give you the number. Don't call quite yet, but I'll just give you the number so you can be ready. 250-386-1161. That's 250-386-1161. We'll take that call right after we get through our sports and traffic and weather. So let's get to the sports. Lots going on. In baseball, Toronto Blue Jays with another win. Ernie Clement hit into a fielder's choice in the sixth inning, giving George Springer enough time to score as the Toronto Blue Jays eked out a 5-3 win over the Boston Red Sox. Starting pitcher Dylan Cease says the Jays are picking up some momentum as they've won 6 of their last 10 games and are 3 games out of that wild card spot.
Obviously, it feels way better to win, so we've been playing well, and I think we just got to keep our heads down and keep doing that.
C struck out 7, allowing 3 runs on 5 hits and 4 walks over the 5 innings. Over to the Seattle Mariners, they lost 4-1 to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium last night, dropping their 5th consecutive game. And the Vancouver Whitecaps, also losers on the night last night, wrapping up their League's Cup competition with a 3rd straight loss to a Mexican opponent. The MLS Cup finalist from just last season lost 5-4 on penalties to the host Tigres UANL in Monterrey, Mexico. Lots of tennis still going on. We're getting down to the end of it at the National Bank Open going on in Toronto and Montreal. On the women's side, the semifinals take center stage today. The winners from today will move on to finals tomorrow. Same story for the men's side, with 3 Americans and a Spanish teenager in the men's semifinals coming up on the day today. And we have word that businessmen Josh Kushner and Bob Iger are reportedly buying the Los Angeles Lakers for more than $12 billion. It would be a record-breaking price if the sale is approved by the NBA Board of Governors. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports to 8:09. Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Now in season, fresh BC peaches, joyfully juicy, tree ripened under the Okanagan sunshine. Pick some up today. The traffic conditions continue to be pretty typical out there. We're just seeing, the usual volume delays from the West Shore into Victoria. We've got no major slowdowns on the Pat Bay or the Malahat at this time. And at BC Ferries, no sailing ways. Everything is looking very clear. You can text me at 71010 if you do see a problem out there. The weather forecast, that's where we got a lot to talk about because we've had this chance of showers. Like I've said, I've been watching the weather radar. We saw some rain over the water off the Juan de Fuca Strait and up over the Malahat in the North Cowichan area and other parts of Vancouver Island. We have been seeing some scattered showers over the morning, but the capital region seems to have missed it, and we're now clearing up as the morning goes on. Highs will hit about 24 degrees. A humidex of 27, so quite humid and warm today. A few clouds tonight, lows to 12. Tomorrow, it's very similar with the sun and the temperatures. The thing that's different is some smoke haze is coming back. We're getting that wildfire smoke moving back in over the island from the interior and parts of Washington State. Friday, sunshine, temperatures in the mid-20s. Saturday, Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with temperatures again in the mid-20s as a high. Right now, we're at about 17 degrees for quite a lot of Victoria, but we're warming up in Langford right now. We're at 19. Don't worry, we'll take that call in just a few moments for the Spamalot tickets, but I want to tell you about the market numbers so far on the morning. S&P TSX in Toronto up 122 to 36,598. The Dow in New York is down 15 to 53,776. The Nasdaq is up 132 to 26,577. Canadian dollar, it's been sitting at 71.8 cents all morning, so not much movement there. It is slightly up, though, from yesterday's close.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Yeah, the wonderful folks at Broadway in Victoria presenting Monty Python's Spamalot, August 28th to the 30th at the Royal Theatre. Tickets are on sale now, and I understand there are still tickets left. But why not just win them right now by calling 250-386-1161? We're going to take another random caller. I'm going to the phone lines right now, Lisa.
Okay.
I'm just letting the board fill up here, and then we're going to take that line. This person. Who's this?
Caller.
Oh, hi, it's Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. I can hear myself through the radio. Could you turn your radio down a little bit?
Amanda, you're freaking us out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
It's all good. I knew I had the right person if I had somebody who's listening to me on the radio. This is great.
It's Ryan and Ryan show.
Amanda, do you know what we're doing here? We're making people perform Monty Python sketches. Are you up to the challenge?
Absolutely. The flying sheep sketch.
Okay. Oh, I love it. You're all ready to go. So take it away in your own time. The floor is yours.
Okay. Let's see. Hello. Lovely day. Yep, sure is. Can I ask why those sheep are up in the trees? That's an excellent question, and one which is giving me considerable thought over the years. And I've determined that it's because of Harold. He's that most dangerous of things, a clever sheep. He's realized that a sheep's life consists of standing around in a field for a few months and then being eaten, and that's a depressing prospect for an ambitious sheep. Well, why don't you simply remove Harold? Because of the enormous commercial possibilities if he succeeds. And what exactly are the commercial possibilities of ovine aviation? Mesdames et messieurs, voici le mouton. I'll stop there.
I was getting into that.
I was captivated.
Yeah. Especially the rolling of the R's.
Oh, yeah. Very well done on the accent.
Very effective.
I did love that sketch. Just like, what if sheep just decided they could fly? And what are the commercial implications?
Well, they work in Nanaimo.
Of ovine aviation.
Oh, Amanda, that was wonderful. So I'm gonna give you the tickets to go and see Spamalot. Congratulations!
Yay.
I was gonna play you the fancy a button that plays the sound effect, but I can't find it. So
That's okay.
I'm just gonna do this instead. We're just gonna give you applause.
So much.
Get the gallery.
Amanda, have you ever seen Spamalot?
No, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like from the sketch the sketch you picked, which is a deep cut, and I love that you picked that one. You must be a fan, so I'm sure you've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the Spamalot is drawn from that. So if you're aware of that movie, that's kind of the experience you're coming into, but in musical form. And I'm so glad we get to send you. So hang on the line, Amanda. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take your information off the air and get you your tickets. That was a good one today.
Very good.
I mean, they've all been good ones.
Very long.
Yeah.
There was some thought put into that.
And the memorization. That's a long thing to memorize.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
She was not reading. But a lot of people have a couple of lines.
Yeah.
But that was a full skit. Oh. Well played.
Very good. What will tomorrow bring? We're doing it again tomorrow. If you missed out on today, don't worry. We're going to do it same time, same place tomorrow. Okay, let's get to the headlines. It's 8:15. What's going on in the world, Lisa?
Good morning. The federal government announcing $34 million in funding to help communities across the country cope with climate change. The announcement made in Halifax earlier this morning. A total of 128 communities across Canada will receive funding for 141 climate resilient projects. Halifax receiving nearly $800,000, for example, to install cooling measures in city parks. Environment Minister Julie DeBrusen was in that city this morning for the announcement. Across the pond in Olympic National Park, one of 2 fires have been knocked down. The fire had burned less than an acre on the southern slope of Sourdough Mountain across the strait, almost directly south of Souk. There's been an increase in activity on the Mount Tom Creek fire, which is about 5 or so kilometers to the south. Here in BC, across BC, we have 104 fires, 103 actually, burning this hour. 46 of those considered out of control. No new fires on Vancouver Island in the last 24 hours. The remains of Jackie, the beloved big bear, bald eagle, are going to the National Eagle Repository in Colorado. The decision by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the National Eagle Repository, is a one-of-a-kind facility operated by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Office of Law Enforcement. It will receive, evaluate, and store and distribute the eagle remains and keep it for religious, cultural, and ceremonial purposes as well. Jackie died Monday after battling serious health issues, but over the years, Jackie and her longtime partner Shadow raised chicks and won the love of many people across North America. And Sir Rod Stewart says he won't be able to continue his one last time farewell tour following a coronary stent procedure. Stewart has already canceled and postponed a few performances this tour. The 81-year-old singer was scheduled to appear through early September in North America. He says he's already feeling better, but he says he's obviously disappointed that he won't be able to finish the tour. He does look forward to performing again soon, I guess at the age of 82 at this point. That's your news to 8:18.
Well, did you hear the news about the Crystal Pool? We have got a sense of the gap where we won't have one because the Crystal Pool, of course, is going to be closing for its big rebuild. They were going to be using the old YMCA pool, but then there was that leak recently. So some timelines, just a sense of what you can expect with the situation coming up next. We're going to talk to the Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities with the City of Victoria next to give you all the details you need to know.
Thinking about home renos, but the cost is too high? Think again. Explore affordable DIY options from ProTech Exterior Products at beahomepro.com.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. We'll start with the weather side of things, where we have been through a small chance of showers overnight, but I've been watching the weather radar. We haven't really seen much fall over the capital region other than sort of around us. Up the Cowichan Valley, you got a bit of rain overnight. Saw a little bit off the Wandafuka Strait, like on the water side of things, but it looks like we dodged the rain. Maybe, unfortunately. It's good to get things watered at this stage of summer. We are moving now into clearer skies for the rest of the day. Highs will hit about 24 degrees, a humidex of 26. 27, so feeling a little warmer in the humidity. Tonight, a few clouds, lows to 12. And then tomorrow, it's similar with mostly sunny skies and temperatures in the mid-20s with some humidity in the air, making it feel warmer. But the difference is some smoke hazes forecast to move back over the island tomorrow. So we might notice that smoke back in the air as of tomorrow. Right now, for the temperatures, it's warming up into the day. The official temperature at the airport is 17 degrees, but I'm already seeing slightly warmer temperatures in Langford, where it's 19 right now.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Looks like there will be a gap between when the Crystal Pool closes and when the old YMCA building gets back up and running after its little water leak issue. So a gap in pool availability for the city of Victoria. That's what we've been learning from the Parks and Recreation and Facilities Department. And the director of that department, Derek Newman, is joining us on the line with more. Sir, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thanks so much for having me online.
Yeah, great to get you here. So this announcement yesterday, just sort of giving us these timelines. Why don't you walk us through again what's happening? Because people know that the Crystal Pool's got to close so you can rebuild it, and I guess we're getting our heads around the timelines now.
Yeah, that's right. As your viewers probably know, this has been a project that's been on the books for some time now, and then with the referendum approved last year, we're at the point where after 55 years of valued service to the community, the Crystal Pool will close its doors permanently on September 25th of 2026. And that's to make way for the construction of the new facility.
And that particular date, why that date? Why September 25th? I'm just trying to, is just because that's the construction timelines, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Obviously a project of this scale, it's a $209.2 million project. There's a lot of moving parts. And in order to keep this project on schedule and on budget, which I'm proud to report that that's where we're currently at, this is the date that we've determined we need to close the doors by to keep things moving ahead.
All right. So if everything kind of stays on schedule, it's got to be by then. But then that's the pool closing. And there was this backup plan. Of course, the old YMCA building has a pool. The YMCA itself has moved out of it, and they've moved into the Bay Center. But there was that snag with the flooding. So I guess we got a bit of a delay there. Talk us through that part of it.
Yeah, we've been working with Concert Properties, who's the landlord of the former YMCA building, which will be renamed the Victoria Recreation Centre. We entered into a lease with them at the start of the year, and we've been undertaking some reviews and developing plans to do some necessary improvements for accessibility, for some safety improvements, and then just generally some life cycle repairs there. So that facility is actually older than the existing Crystal Pool. And, as your audience has probably heard in the news, it's really at the end of life. So this leak that happened on June 15th came as a bit of a surprise, but I think the good news there is that we hadn't occupied the building yet. So we were able to complete an extensive review of any of the other systems within the building that might need to be addressed to help mitigate that and extend the life for 5 years. And so right now, the work that's underway is to do just that. It's to make those necessary repairs so that we can have, albeit it'll be a smaller pool facility, but so that we can continue providing that valued service to the community while the new facility is being built.
But it's expected that work on the old YMCA building won't be finished until early 2027. Is that the timeline I'm seeing?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's just some uncertainty right now with regards to the full extent of the water damage related to that water leak. We're pushing ahead with the work, and construction's underway right now on some of the improvements, and we're going to be moving into the repair work actually next week, just to get things underway and open up the walls and ceilings, just to fully wrap our heads around all the work that needs to be completed. Our hope is that in the coming weeks here, we'll be able to firm up the full scope of repair work and give a more definitive date on when the community can expect to see the facility open and operational.
But anyway, you shake it, we're going to have the Crystal Pool and Fitness Center closing permanently to get torn down September 25th. The YMCA pool, the temporary pool, won't be in action until early 2027-ish. So there will be several months in the middle where there won't really be a public pool option unless there's something else going on. What is there anything being done to try to help meet that demand, or I guess do Victorians just have to wait through the period?
Yeah, I mean, we recognize the city that this transition will have some real impacts to our valued swim clubs and our partners. And certainly we were concerned to hear about the spirit orcas, that they may be at risk of a temporary closure there. But our team has been working directly with our clubs and regional partners to ensure that, they had advance notice of the transition and that they were able to make some preparations and reach out to other facilities to try and find some available lane time to minimize those impacts. We won't be able to eliminate every impact, but we've been very proactive in continuing to work with our clubs and partners to help them bridge that gap. I'll also share that every year we do have an extended closure in November and December. That's at the existing facility just to undertake repairs. And so this will be, similar to that, but, it might be a bit longer than normal.
We're talking to Derek Newman. He's Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities with the City of Victoria. And we're talking about the timelines that have been laid out now for what's happening with the Crystal Pool and all of the surrounding issues with that. So, again, closing for good, September 25th. When do the wrecking balls come out? Like, when do we actually start to see that old building come down?
Yeah, well, we can expect that after the facility's closed at the end of September there'll be some activity as we, mobilize and do some activities to get the site ready for demolition. So our aim is to get demolition underway this fall so that we can, clear the site and get ready for construction next year.
Well, we'll watch and see how it all shakes out. Thank you so much for giving us the update here, though. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the time, Ryan. Thanks so much.
Very good. Okay, well, we'll take a break here. We got the 8:30 news coming up in just a few moments, and your traffic, weather, and everything else you need to know to start your day. Right here on the CFAX Morning Show.
CFAX, Santa's Anonymous.
Hey, grown-ups, the ones still kids at heart.
Through the Kids Count Children's Grant Program powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous, local kids are getting help with summer camp fees, food security, and mental wellness support.
Where do you see kids needing the most support?
Access to healthy, fresh food through the summer.
Visit CFAXSantas.com right now and give directly to the cause that matters most to you.
Kids Count.
Powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous.
To find out how you can help, visit CFAXSantas.com. CFAX Victoria,
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 8:30 on Wednesday, August the 12th. It's going to be clearing up as the day goes on. Some more sunshine on the way for Victoria. Let's get through these morning clouds. Full forecast to come, but first, here's the news with Lisa.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. Thousands of Canadians now signing that petition calling for the U.S. President Donald Trump's representative in Ottawa to be kicked out of this country. The online petition says Pete Hoekstra should be declared person persona non grata, and the Canadian government should request his removal as U.S. ambassador to Canada.
As of this morning, more than 56,000 people had signed their names in support. The petition accuses Hoekstra of making statements that undermine the Canada-U.S. diplomatic relationship and of making repeated interventions in Canadian political discourse inconsistent with diplomatic protocol.
It is the question on our CFAX news poll today. The petition is set to be presented in the House of Commons in the fall by Green Party leader Elizabeth May. In Washington, Canadian and American trade officials met for nearly an hour yesterday as work continues to try to hammer out an agreement and avoid Donald Trump's latest 50% tariff threats, which are to come next week. CTV's Michael Couture says those involved in negotiations aren't saying much.
CTV News has learned that both Canadian and American trade representatives are aiming to present the layout of a trade deal to U.S. President Donald Trump in the days leading up to the August 19th deadline. In a previous meeting, both sides were discussing concessions. When the meeting wrapped up, LeBlanc had little to say.
Minister, how close are we to a deal?
You know we're not going to discuss those things.
I know, but a lot of Canadians are wondering. A lot of Canadians are wondering how close you are.
We'll have something to say when the moment's right.
We'll have more on the trade talks as it becomes available. It's not yet clear, though, when trade officials on both sides are set to meet again. One of the concerns coming out of the massive fire and evacuation in the Summerlin area centers around lack of information. Many of the 12,000 evacuees say they don't know what's going on and they don't know when it's safe to return. Emergency Management Minister Kelly Green says it is important to get the correct information out, and they're trying to do that in a timely fashion.
We want to make sure that we're contacting people responsibly. Part of that is waiting for safe time for inspectors to get in to understand and assess the condition of people's homes. We have used heavy urban search and rescue in situations like this, and I expect that they will be tapped again. They have the equipment to safely re-enter these areas and the knowledge and understanding to be able to do assessments of people's homes. I wouldn't want somebody to find out that their home had been lost on TV or on social media.
Local municipalities are reaching out to residents once information can be shared, not before. This is RCMP actively investigate how the Summerlin wildfire started on Friday. RCMP Staff Sergeant Chris Clark says access to the fire zone isn't available right now.
So it's very early days. I think that certainly this particular fire is being treated as suspicious as every fire is until proven otherwise. As we know, my colleagues spoke to it earlier, that human-caused fire does not necessarily mean that it's arson or that whether this particular fire is human-caused. We're at the early stages here. It's difficult for us to even get into the area simply due to the fact that the fire is still burning. So early days, investigation's ongoing, but well in hand.
The Wildfire Service says about 4% of fires that are started seasonally in BC are the result of arson. The Canadian Armed Forces is holding an event today with Canadian drone manufacturers in Ontario.
The event, called the Red Cobalt Uncrewed Systems Accelerator, is being held at a NATO test center in the Ottawa Valley, set up for testing cutting-edge technologies. The federal government is looking to quickly adopt more drones as the technology is ever developing. Lieutenant General Darcy Molstad, commander of the Canadian Joint Forces Command, says this is an example of how the military must do business with industry to innovate swiftly.
We have to work with them hand in hand because this is technology that evolves on a weekly basis in a modern operational theater.
He says this kind of event puts military drone operators in direct contact with industry experts who are developing the platforms. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
And if you are looking for love, Netflix confirms Love is Blind is coming to Canada.
The hit reality series puts single men and women in isolated pods where they date and apparently fall in love without ever seeing each other. The catch is they must get engaged before meeting face to face. The original U.S. version of Love is Blind premiered in 2020 and became a pandemic-era breakout, eventually spawning adaptations around the world. Casting is now open for the Canadian version of the show, which is being produced by Insight Productions, the company behind Big Brother Canada and Canada Shore. Lisa Laporte, The Canadian Press.
And that's your news to 8:35. Here's CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you if you support the petition to remove U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra from Canada. 85% right now saying absolutely. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 8:37.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. We have skies to clear as the day goes on. We have had a small chance of showers in the forecast this morning. I guess it's technically still there, but we're starting to clear out of that. We will tell you the full forecast in just a moment. Right now, though, let's talk sports. So what's going on? Toronto Blue Jays. Well, they continue their push for an American League wildcard spot against the Boston Red Sox. Toronto's won the first two contests of this 4-game series. It's 2.5 games now out of the final wildcard spot. Jose Soriano starts for the Jays tonight as they do the third game of that series. For the Seattle Mariners, it was another loss last night, 4-1 to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium, dropping their 5th consecutive game. The women's semifinals taking center stage today at the National Bank Open in Toronto. Ukraine's Elena Svitolina facing Poland's Iga Swiatek. American Coco Gauff then faces Kazakhstan's Elena Rybakina, who rallied past Naomi Osaka in 3 sets yesterday. And on the American side, on the men's side, at the National Bank Open going on in Montreal, 3 Americans and a Spanish teenager in the semifinals today. And all of the winners from today, both men's and women's, will be playing in the finals, which are taking place tomorrow. And for the Vancouver Whitecaps, they wrapped up their League's Cup competition last night with a 3rd straight loss to a Mexican opponent. This was the one against Tigres UANL in Monterrey, Mexico. And it was a Tigres win, 5-4 on penalties, but for the Whitecaps, they'd already been knocked out of the League's Cup, so it didn't matter so much to them. But it was a good win for Monterrey, who get a chance to move on. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports. It's 8:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, it continues to be a fairly typical day. We have seen some volume delays coming out of the West Shore on the Trans-Canada Highway, but it just seems to be the usual. And for the Pat Bay Highway, for the Malahat, things are pretty typical as well. No major crashes. If you see anything, though, text me at 71010. Over to that weather forecast. There's a lot going on here, so let's unpack it. We've had this chance of showers over Victoria for the morning hours this morning. We're starting to clear out of that. It's going to get sunny as the day goes on. We didn't actually see much in the way of rain for Victoria. We saw some over on the Wandafuka Strait on the water side of things, and we did see some rain up island, scattered showers across parts of Vancouver Island. Victoria itself, though, we dodged it. Maybe it would have been nice to see some rain, but yeah, we're getting out of that now. Highs of 24, humidex of 27. Few clouds tonight, lows to 12. Tomorrow, it is a sunny day with temperatures of 24 and humidity back in the air. But the other thing is the smoke haze is returning tomorrow, so watch out for that in the forecast as well. We will see Friday, sunshine, highs of 24 degrees. The weekend looks like sunshine with a few clouds, highs around 24 degrees as well. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto up 126 points to 36,604. The Dow in New York down 33 points to 53,758. The Canadian dollar, it's 71.8 cents US. It's basically been sitting there all day long, unchanged.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
$17,705. That's our current 50-50 jackpot for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50. Lisa, we are getting ever closer to 18 grand with the winner taking half in this jackpot.
So $9,000 in your pocket.
That
if you win.
That is what you could be winning. Single ticket for $10, 5-pack for $25, a 20-pack for $50. Go to CFAX1070.com. Click on the big Mega Summer 50-50 button. It's right there. Click on that. You get to a place where you can buy your ticket, and who knows, maybe we'll get to that $18,000 mark by the end of the day. You got to be a BC resident. You got to be over 19. You are getting it's kind of gambling, I guess.
It's gambly. It's a gray area.
Yeah. But with the fact that...
It's a charity. It's a charity fundraiser.
Yeah, I think of it as a donation because you are supporting CFAX Santas Anonymous and their Kids Count program, which is how CFAX Santas helps kids beyond Christmas. So if you want to help support, make a donation, and maybe win a bucket load of money.
Yeah, because we're just going to go higher. It's not going to stop there. So we're really curious. It's the first time we've had this.
Yeah, really cool. It's a neat thing, doing a raffle radio station wide, not just here on CFAX 1070, our partners at CTV Vancouver Island and 107.3 Virgin Radio also selling the raffle tickets for the Mega Summer 50-50. Check it out.
Yeah, this helps kids and families right across the Greater Victoria, Southern Vancouver area, so Vancouver Island area. So, yeah, if you can give, if you want to win, which is a new thing for us. It's not just giving, but it's also possibly money in your pocket as well.
Yeah, love it. Check it out.
Win-win all around.
Mega Summer 50-50. Check out the button. Hey, coming up next, you know me, I always love talking about the buildings and businesses and the scene around Greater Victoria. And the old Capital Iron building, a little bit up in the air after, of course, the sort of reborn Capital Iron closed. What's next for this historic building in Victoria? We actually have some information on that now. And so a guy I love to talk buildings and businesses with is Mike Kozakowski from Citified.ca. So he's going to be joining us for a little gossip about downtown Victoria in just a few moments. So stand by for that. But right now at 8:44, let's get to the headlines out of the CFAX newsroom. Here's Lisa.
One of southern BC's most destructive wildfires reached 178 square kilometers in size yesterday. That's the Bald Range Fire, burning on the western shores of Okanagan Lake. It continues to keep 20,000 people out of home around Summerland since it first erupted last Friday. Many people are unsure if they actually have homes to go home to at this point. The BC Wildfire Service says 100 Mexican firefighters arrived yesterday, putting boots on the ground to outbattle this blaze. They're being joined by 102 firefighters that have flown in from Costa Rica. They're expected to arrive shortly as well here in BC. A recent study out of Italy suggests that eating tomatoes daily decreases fat buildup in the liver. Researchers say one factor is because raw tomatoes are rich in antioxidant that fights inflammation. The study involves about 80 people, all under the age of 65. Most were male. Scientists involved say a larger study, more inclusive studies need to be done, but fatty liver disease is caused by obesity, excessive alcohol intake, and diabetes. So any foods we can ingest to fight that would be good. And a U.S. athlete could take a tip from Australia residents. Store your boots upside down to ensure nothing slithers inside. A high school football player in Arkansas felt unusual movement inside his helmet following warm-ups last week. He wore it all during warm-up, and when he brought it in for inspection to the assistant coach, they found a 2-foot cottonmouth discovered behind some padding, and yes, that's venomous. The viper liked its new home so much it didn't want to leave. Police actually had to pour water into the helmet to get the snake out. Animal service technicians took it to a wooded area far from the school and released it back where it belongs. That's your news to 8:46.
All right, talking to Mike Kozakowski from Citified.ca. What is the future of the old Capital Iron building? We're going to get into that in just a moment. We also got your traffic and weather updated next. If you got a crash, accident, or something else ruining your commute, let us know at 71010.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50-50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660.
Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, very typical commute. Volume delays out of the West Shore into Victoria have been present, but nothing unusual other than just slowing down through the Trans-Canada Highway construction zone where they're widening the bus lanes. That work to continue until 2027, by the way. That's going to be a while. And for BC Ferries, no sailing waits for the weather. We are eventually clearing out of the overcast skies we've been with this morning. We're going to see some clearing skies later today. Highs of 24, a little humidity as well. We are experiencing a few clouds tonight, but hopefully not too many because the Perseid meteor shower really peaks overnight tonight, kind of midnight until about 5 a.m., kind of around sunrise. That's where we will see those meteors the most. For the rest of the forecast, though, tomorrow we get into some smoke haze. That's coming back in. Otherwise, it's a sunny day with a high of 24 and some humidity still, but a bit more smoke coming back at us tomorrow.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, we got word on plans for the old Capitol Iron building in Victoria, and here to talk about it, Mike Kozakowski from Certified.ca is joining us. Mike, how you doing? Oh, wait, if I push a button, you'll talk. How's it going, Mike?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right now that I got my buttons pressed correctly. Now, for folks who know, Mike, you operate Certified.ca. This is this wonderful website where you track things like developments going up and down around the capital region. You also love to talk about the business moves that are happening, like this one. And I'm always curious about the same stuff. So I love it when I can join you on the radio and talk about these things. And the old Capitol Iron building. If we set this up, when the Capitol Iron historic store went out of business, it did kind of get reborn as a bit of an appliance gallery, and that's gone away. But now we've learned appliances are back in the future for the old Capitol Iron building. What have we learned?
Yes, indeed. Well, what an unfortunate story that after such a long amount of time, we lost West Coast Appliance and, of course, the second iteration of the Capitol Iron store. But the new lease is like a match made in heaven. As you mentioned, the Lower Mainland company was able to acquire this space for its, I shouldn't say acquire, but lease the space for its appliance showroom. And they opened up this summer, which is a perfect re-addition for a very similar service that was much needed in our community. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, Capitol Iron and the West Coast Appliance, for whatever reason, things just went sideways, and we lost a long-time business in the process. And at the time of that loss, many individuals in the business community were wondering what will replace the Capitol Iron store. I mean, it's the crown jewel of the Capitol Iron lands and the future development that will start to rise in its vicinity. And luckily for us, there was a tenant that was ready and waiting to take over the space. So it worked out just perfectly at a time when, and I don't think your listeners are too unfamiliar with this, at a time when leasing and lease-ups in our downtown core and periphery are quite challenged, and we are facing some fairly strong headwinds when it comes to the economic incentives necessary to have a very healthy and vibrant commercial industry in our downtown core.
So this is called Midland Appliances. That's the company that is opening the showroom, or I guess has already. Is it open yet, Midland Appliances?
Yeah, I believe they opened in June of this summer. At least that was their target date.
What do we know about Midland Appliances?
It's a local company that has multiple locations throughout the province, and this is their first foray onto Vancouver Island. I think what you're going to find there is a similar level of quality of what you would have found at the West Coast Appliance showroom. So not your typical big box style of appliances, but stuff that is a little bit on the upper end of the scale, higher quality items. And of course, being a smaller business, you do benefit from that hands-on attention to detail and customer service that smaller businesses in the appliance realm are known for. And the appliance business is tough, especially when it comes to a market like what we're seeing today, when there isn't as much of the higher end development taking place that we would have seen in years prior. These businesses will also supply large volumes of inventory for condominium projects and larger developments, which can be quite lucrative for a business like this because they're able to provide their customers with a number of appliances across 100, 150, 200 units. So you can see how that can be a fairly lucrative business. Now, whether or not this company takes advantage of projects like this and big contracts like this, I'm not overly familiar if they would or if they do, but it's definitely something that our local market has played a key role in over the years and has helped sustain these businesses.
It's a historic building, and I'm quite curious about what happens with it. So interesting to hear that the Appliance Gallery is going to be its next stage of life. And you already brought this up a little bit, but I want to get into another interesting facet of this, and that's not just the building itself, the one that we associate with Capital Iron. There's the whole lands around it that are the subject of a lot of change right now. And you and I have talked about this before, but let's just remind everybody what's going on there, because there's some huge development that's already happened in some cases and is still planned to happen surrounding that area.
Yeah, well, if you think of where Mark's Work Warehouse is, and then you've got that large surface parking lot and a strip mall adjacent to Mark's Work Warehouse along Government Street, all that land is part of the Capital Iron redevelopment by Vancouver-based Reliance Properties. This is a company that more recently reinvigorated, I guess we could say, and restored the former Janyan Hotel into microloft condominiums. They are also the company that secured approvals for the redevelopment of the Northern Junk building on the, what would we call it, the south side of the Johnson Street Bridge on the Victoria side. And then they're also completing a rental project along Dallas Road in the James Bay neighborhood. In addition to that, this company is one of the big players at the Beachlands project in Colwood. So this is a very well capitalized company. They've got a lot of irons in the fire, not just in Greater Victoria, but also in other parts of the province. And they do really good things when they do things. And we're very fortunate to have them in our community developing at the level of quality that they are known to develop to. Their vision that was approved earlier this year for those lands includes 2 high-rise towers of about, let's say, about 14 stories maximum plus, and this is a very interesting twist, plus a potential future space for the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria, which will be located on Store Street at Chatham Street. So I'll also mention that the border of this project is Chatham, Government, Discovery, that it crosses over Store Street, heads into the northern, or not the Northern Junk, but the Capital Iron lands, and then down to the waterfront. So the Art Gallery of Greater Victoria will be situated. Hopefully, everything falls into place and they're able to move from their Moss Street facility to the downtown core, hopefully situated at Chatham and Store Streets. Now, another component of this project is the waterfront component. The local businesses that rely on an active harbor and access to slips for their business purposes, they don't have a lot of options. And so this project will take advantage of the Capital Iron Lands' really nice upper harbor waterfront that will connect businesses requiring services like fishing and whatever kind of nautical business opportunities are out there.
Oh, actually, on that topic,
opportunities are out there.
Yeah,
yes.
Sorry, on that topic, I do have a text message here. Says, does Mike know if Finest at Sea is going to be going into the back in that area you're just talking about? Was that one of the tenants that was being talked about?
Well, that's a very interesting question because they were asked to opine on the applicability of that space for their business. So I would imagine that a business like Finest at Sea would find a oceanfront or harborfront opportunity like the Northern Junk. Geez, I keep mixing the two up. The Capital Iron Lands, very lucrative for their business. So there's a pretty good possibility that they will at least have some portion of their business operating from the Capital Iron Lands.
Yeah, well, thanks for the question at 71010. And Mike, thank you for joining us and talking about this. I'm very curious about the future of that neck of the woods in town. But I got to let you go because we're out of time. Mike, always a pleasure to talk to you. You'll be joining Josh and Jade tomorrow in the afternoon to talk more about this kind of stuff. So we'll be listening then.
You bet. Take care. Thank you so much.
That's it for me. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Lisa's got your 9 o'clock news next.